Hello. Welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. If you want more content, you can follow me on Patreon. I will be uploading more content on there that will be exclusive. The link is in the description. Please support me. 13 SW 301. Pet Xiao Bai. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Looking up along the black shadow, Bai Ye actually saw a tiny white snake. Bai Ye carefully observed the cute little snake in front of him. This little snake is only 20 centimeters long, with a big head. And a pair of piercing eyes, very cute. What is even more surprising is that this little snake has a pair of white horns on its head. The little snake has white snake scales from head to tail, which is very beautiful. Under the sunlight in the room, you can see different colors of snake scales from different angles. And this little white snake seemed to be very curious about Bai Ye in front of him. Advertisement. After all, it had been years since Orochimaru's lab had been sealed off. 31 Bai Ye tentatively put his hand on the little white snake's head, and the white snake seemed to have no other resistance. And this little white snake seems to be obedient to Bai Ye's hand, looking cute and funny. Hey, why are you here? Forget it, it's fate to meet me, and I will be your master from now on. The little white snake seemed to understand what Bai Ye said, and happily circled around in place chasing its own tail. Haha. Then I have to give you a name. Well, what should I call you? The little white snake seemed very happy, and then the little white snake crawled on Bai Ye's body along Bai Ye's arm. The little white snake seemed to be sniffing the smell of its master, crawling around on Bai Ye. Ha ha ha. So itchy. I saw a man and a snake making a scene in the laboratory happily. Ha ha ha. Let's call you Xiao Bai. The little white snake seemed to understand Bai Ye's words. Advertisement. Xiao Bai Xiao Bai. Bai Ye called out to Xiao Bai, and the little white snake tilted its head in response. After playing happily here, Bai Ye sat on the ground with peace of mind, and Xiao Bai was also crossed at the side. At this time, Bai Ye remembered that his purpose of coming here was to investigate clearly inside. Looking up and looking around, I feel that there should be some unknown things hidden here. Xiao Bai, you have been staying here, do you know some other places, or other things? After listening to Bai Ye's words, Xiao Bai lowered his head and began to think seriously. I saw Xiao Bai's pupils turning slightly, as if he suddenly thought of a way. Xiao Bai instantly moved forward and slid back and forth on the ground. Bai Ye watched Xiao Bai move forward. Oh, daughter, you going to lead me the way? Xiao Bai nodded in front and continued to move forward. After Bai Ye stood up from the ground, he followed Xiao Bai at a trot. Advertisement. Bai Ye looked at Xiao Bai and muttered to himself. This little guy is not big, but his movement speed is quite fast. I saw Xiao Bai bypassing one mechanical device after another, coming 760 from the gap to the corner. Bai Ye also ran over and found Xiao Bai parked near the wall. Around this corner, Bai Ye began to observe carefully. But Bai Ye looked at it for a long time and didn't see any tricks. Xiao Bai, did you lead the wrong way? It's nothing strange, and there's no trap on the wall. And Xiao Bai was anxious at the side, only to see Xiao Bai kept circling a white rectangular device on the table. But Bai Ye only focused on this wall, and didn't have the heart to listen to Xiao Bai's prompts. Xiao Bai couldn't bear it anymore, only to see its tail directly sweeping Bai Ye's face. Ah, Xiao Bai, what are you doing? 302. Underground Ruins. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After Bai Ye reacted, he watched Xiao Bai keep circling the rectangular object. Only then did Bai Ye realize that the cuboid is the key. Hey, I'm sorry Xiao Bai didn't understand what you meant just now. I saw Bai Ye pressing the cuboid hard, but nothing changed. Xiao Bai became more anxious watching from the side, and immediately began to turn clockwise along the cuboid. Bai Ye watched for a long time before he realized that the cuboid was used for rotation. After Bai Ye rotated clockwise according to Xiao Bai's prompt, suddenly there was a bang inside the cuboid. Then the corner of the wall suddenly took shape. Advertisement. The corner of the wall slowly disappeared, forming a very old stone door. On this stone gate, there is a huge snake head mark directly in front, and there are ring-like devices on both sides. Various totems are depicted on the facade, as if recording something related to snakes. At this time, Bai Ye recalled what Namikaze Minato reminded him before. At that time, Namikaze Minato said that there might be something related to snakes here, and it is said that Orochimaru was also very fond of snakes at that time. Bai Ye grasped the pull rings on both sides with both hands at the same time and pulled back. Boom. I saw the huge stone gate slowly rising, and the surrounding sand, gravel and dust slowly fell against the gap in the stone gate. Behind this door there is a hole in the sky. There are all kinds of books hidden in it, and vivid totems are engraved on the surrounding walls. Advertisement. And there is a container device in the center that seems to contain a strange life form. Obviously, here should be congenitally formed, or here are some relics. I understand that the reason why Orochimaru built the laboratory here is because there is such a relic here, through which he can discover some unexpected things. Bai Ye observed the totems around, and then slowly groped. Xiao Bai also felt very curious here, only to see Xiao Bai crawling along the container in the center, looking at the life forms in the container. Although there is only one heart in the container, the heart still survives strongly in the container. And Xiao Bai also seemed to have something strange happening. Xiao Bai seemed to be trapped in memories and couldn't extricate himself. Bai Ye looked around and saw that the totems on the walls seemed to be about some aliens. Advertisement. It talked about some people who came from a distant universe, and it seemed that there was a huge problem inside them. Bai Ye currently has no way to understand the true meaning of these headaches. And under each totem, there are line after line of characters, but these characters are obviously from a long time ago, and Bai Ye can't understand its meaning at all now. But from the appearance of the people painted on the totem, Bai Ye can roughly deduce that these people seem to have the same point. See, what is the comma-like pattern painted on these people's bodies? What is money? How? Also, there seem to be some strange shaped horns growing on the heads of these people. Just when Bai Ye was puzzled, this corner suddenly reminded Bai Ye. By the way, Xiao Bai, you also have horns on your head. When Bai was looking for Xiao Bai, he unexpectedly saw the two horns on Xiao Bai's head facing the heart in the container began to shine. Surprised and shocked, Bai Ye walked forward slowly, calling Xiao Beimao tentatively. 303. All things are eternal. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Xiao Bai, don't scare people. Bai Ye looked at Xiao Bai in front of him as if comforting himself. And Xiao Bai's condition didn't seem to be very good, frowning and eyes closed seemed extremely painful. After seeing Xiao Bai's scene, Bai Ye seemed to feel the same way. Noob. Just as the horns on Xiao Bai's head were shining brighter and brighter, Bai Ye rushed over in an instant, holding Xiao Bai tightly with both hands. In an instant, the light in the room disappeared. Bai Ye slowly opened his eyes, and slowly opened his hands to look at Xiao Bai inside. Xiao Bai seems to be asleep, but what is strange is that along the line of Xiao Bai's back, 9 black patterns like 003 appear neatly. Advertisement. The black commas were arranged on Xiao Bai's back. After seeing these patterns, Bai Ye immediately looked up at the totems on the wall. Those people also had these black commas on them. Noob. Bai Ye frowned, feeling an infinite feeling in his heart for an instant. His words were stuck in his throat and he couldn't speak. The sky slowly brightened. Bai Ye sat up again, and Xiao Bai beside him was still asleep. The sleeping Xiao Bai seemed very cute. Bai Ye raised the corners of his mouth slightly and stopped paying attention to these totems. Bai Ye looked around, looking at these scrolls around DBAF and some strange books. After looking around, Bai Ye found something like a wooden box in the center of the cabinet. Bai Ye slowly opened the wooden box and found a very exquisite scroll inside. On the side of the reel, there is a very small object like a black ball. Bai Ye carefully took out the items in the wooden box. Advertisement. I only saw a rope on the black ball, like a necklace. After Bai Ye hung the black necklace around his neck, he found that nothing else had changed. Immediately afterwards, Bai Ye began to study the exquisite scroll in front of him. 2 large characters appeared on the book cover. Yin and Yang. Bai Ye couldn't figure out the problem, and slowly opened the first sheet, which was densely packed with strange words. It seems to be explaining the starting point of all things, as well as some concepts of eternity of all things. These illusory things made Bai Ye feel very boring. He thought he could learn something interesting, but he didn't expect it to be some useless records. Bai Ye turned to the next page, on which the patterns of fire, wind, thunder, water, and earth restrain each other. The things here can be regarded as understandable, and I finally found Bai Ye's favorite when I turned to the next one. Advertisement. On this one, various seal techniques are drawn, and the chakra changes of various attributes can be felt. When it came to the actual combat project, Bai Ye became energetic in an instant. According to the process recorded in this book, Bai Ye works with both hands. Close your eyes and feel the flow of chakra in your body. So these are chakra. No wonder I felt weird when I was fighting. One after another blue streaks shuttled through Bai Ye's body like thin threads. These thin threads travel throughout the body through Bai Ye's blood vessels. These thin threads have a beginning and an end, shuttling back and forth in the body of the knight. However, for some reason, these thin lines are always gathered on Bai Ye's chest. After opening his eyes, Bai Ye saw the black ball hanging on his chest. 304. Last Hope. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It seems that the chakra in Bai Ye's body is being affected by the black orb hanging around his neck outside. However, there are no specific changes, and everything seems to be quite normal. Bai Ye continued to read the content recorded in this book and demonstrated it together. It seems that when 2 or more of the 5 kinds of chakra can be mastered, the chakra attribute will have a qualitative leap. But all chakras cannot escape the realm of yin and yang. It came to a position that Bai Ye couldn't understand, so Bai Ye straightened the book. Now that I can feel the flow of chakra in my body, it stands to reason that I can continue to learn ninjutsu. At this moment, Xiao Bai, who was sleeping beside him, suddenly woke up and lay on Bai Ye's shoulder. Yo, Xiao Bai, you're awake. Then let's go out for a walk, let's go around. Advertisement. Bai Ye led Xiao Bai all the way through these corridors and stairs and finally came to the ground. After coming out, Bai Ye stretched his waist, lazy waist. Hey, it's already noon when I stay here without seeing the sun. Waking up, Bai Ye walked out of the forest slowly to the back of Konoha village. During the day, Konoha village is not so lively. Every household does not allow their children to come out to play, and immediately returns home after buying the necessities of life and closes the doors and windows. Bai Ye walked on the street and looked around at the villagers. Hello, please. Before Bai Ye could finish speaking, the villager immediately ran home and closed the doors and windows. It seems that the current situation is more serious than Bai Ye thought, and the villagers no longer dare to have too much communication and contact with outsiders. Go forward along this road and turn left to see the bustling inside the fence. Advertisement. Looking through the gap in the fence, it turns out that there are a group of children. Bai Ye looked at the building in front of him. Ninja Elementary School. Looks like a small school teaching these kids the basics of ninjutsu. It can be said that this is the only lively place in Konoha village, and Bai Ye came to the gate after going around the elementary school. There are a few big trees with a wooden swing under them, and some other seating on the side. Bai Ye sat down slowly and looked at the expressions of the children in the school. This should be the last hope of the village. How was your day yesterday? Ask for flowers. Point 0. The voice is none other than Namikaze Minato. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato came behind Bai Ye and slowly sat on the wooden chair beside him. Bai Ye was taken aback, frowned and looked at the man behind him in shock, and murmured in his heart. When did this guy come behind me? I didn't even realize it. Point 0. Namikaze Minato came to Bai Ye's side, looking at the minister with a satisfied face. As you can see, this is the most popular place in this village, and it is also the last line of defense to protect this village. Bai Ye stared at the elementary school. The children inside were lively and innocent. By the way, you don't seem to know much about the basics of these ninjutsu. Would you like to go there together to listen to the teacher's lecture? Bai Ye looked at Namikaze Minato curiously, and then went to the school gate to listen to the class in secret. Bai Ye was very excited. I can finally master ninjutsu, let me see what kind of power is waiting for me. As soon as the topic changed, it came to the teachers and classmates. Everyone was very happy to play games and attend classes. 305. Pupils. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Students, what I want to teach you today is to be able to control yourself, the number of chakra flowing, and the change of chakra in ninjutsu. Everyone is very curious about what kind of specific content the teacher taught today. I saw the teacher close his eyes tightly after putting his hands together. Then the teacher slowly came to the pool at the door. Just when everyone thought that the teacher was going to jump into the pool, they nervously closed their eyes on. 600. Bai Ye was also very excited watching from the sidelines. After seeing Bai Ye, the teacher suddenly frowned and became nervous. Bai Ye folded his hands on his chest, looking at the teacher with disdain. Think. The other foot also stands on the 5.8 water surface together. Bai Ye walked towards the pool in front. The students on the side were dumbfounded. They didn't expect this guy to be so powerful. Advertisement. The teacher is amazing. Bai Ye, be careful. Bai Ye also swallowed a mouthful of spit nervously, and after slowly putting one foot up, it didn't sink down. The students on the side seemed to be very troublesome to condense chakra, but Bai Ye took advantage of the opportunity to condense a large amount of chakra directly under his feet. The children on the side shouted excitedly after seeing it, and Bai Ye was also very involved in watching it, feeling that it was very impossible. And then the teacher came down from the pool and stood under the schoolhouse. All eyes were on Bai Ye, to see if he could successfully stand on the water. The teacher just relaxed. Okay. Bai Ye on the side was amazed. He didn't expect ninjutsu to be able to achieve such a level. Advertisement. I saw the teacher. One foot slowly lifted up to stand directly on the wall, and the other foot stepped on it in an instant. Gather your own chakra at your feet as the teacher says. Do you want to learn? The children on the side also cheered, and the teacher looked at the children happily after slowly jumping down from the top. What kind of ninjutsu will the teacher perform this time? The teacher walked on the wall step by step, 90 degrees perpendicular to the wall. After all, there are some strangers in the village who appear beside the children, which makes the teacher somewhat worried. Just when Bai Ye was feeling dizzy, he saw the water in the pool start to fluctuate rapidly. Everyone on the side was dumbfounded. This was not the case when the teacher demonstrated. This also exposed their positions. Bai Ye, who had been hiding in the corner, slowly came to the surface after seeing everyone discovering his position. Advertisement. After listening to what the teacher said, Bai Ye also felt that it was not difficult. HMPH, what's so difficult about it? Then Namikaze Minato came out from behind Bai Ye. Namikaze Minato smiled and nodded to look at the teacher. Teach us quickly, teach us quickly. And this pool is also very calm without any fluctuations. Bai Ye shuddered excitedly. Haha, did you see that I stood up and didn't fall off? Ha ha ha. The teacher stood on the pool strangely and didn't fall at all. Actually, it's not difficult, as long as you can maintain a good amount of chakra and stick to it steadily. Before the children could shout for joy, Bai Ye was the first to shout out. Students, it seems that you have a strong competitor. It seems that there is also a senior classmate secretly listening to the class outside. You don't want to lose to him. 306. Precision and Control. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After hearing Namikaze Minato's shout, Bai Ye immediately lowered his head. I saw the water in this pool began to gather at Bai Ye's feet. For a moment, the water in the pool seemed to give Bai Ye a counterforce. Seeing this, Bai Ye finally understood that chakra was not used up all at once. Seeing this, Bai Ye was instantly sent flying tens of meters high by the pool. Bai Ye came to the pool, sweat dripping from his tense forehead. As long as you control the amount of chakra, you can get twice the result with half the effort. You just condensed too much chakra under your feet, causing these chakra to enter the water cautiously. Ah, advertisement. The black ball on the chest also seemed to respond, slowly absorbing the excess chakra to Bai Ye's chest. Bai Ye asked curiously, I feel that I don't need to control it when fighting, as long as I release it all, it doesn't seem so difficult. This time Bai Ye was not proud, and after staying on the water for a full minute, there was no other movement, so he was relieved. The students and other teachers on the side were shocked when they saw it. Bai Ye stood up again, clenched his hands into fists and walked towards the pool again. In fact, the problem lies with you. After Kakashi and the others told me before, I found that the number of chakra in your body should be huge, and it seems huge without boundaries. Bai Ye listened to Namikaze Minato's explanation, but he didn't seem to hear anything wrong. Nervous, Bai Ye almost fell from the water. Bai Ye looked at the pool with a strange face, and then looked at his feet very annoyed. There's no problem with 31. It's okay to follow the step-by-step taught by that teacher. Why did it suddenly become like this, like a cannonball? Advertisement. Namikaze Minato shook his head slowly and said. These chakras permeating the water have nowhere to go, and the waves that naturally slowly build up work against you. Precise control of chakra is demanding both in combat and in life. The children also laughed, and Namikaze Minato couldn't help laughing too. Namikaze Minato walked to Bai Ye's side and stretched out his hand to pull Bai Ye up. This time Bai Ye began to precisely control the amount of chakra, only to see that the chakra under his feet was peeled off layer by layer. It's good to have more chakra, but it's much harder to control it precisely. It was the same when I recalled the previous battles, this would only increase the burden on my body. The Bai Ye who was bounced fell hard in the air. Bai Ye gritted his teeth instantly and jumped directly into the water at the same time. Advertisement. Having never been exposed to ninjutsu and being able to master chakra's precision in just 2 passes is indeed beyond the realm of genius. This is medical ninjutsu, he has a higher control over chakra, and if it is accurate to a certain extent, it can bring people back to life. After maintaining a good balance, it successfully stood on the water. Only then did Bai Ye understand that it turned out that what he said just now was beating himself. Namikaze Minato explained slowly. Namikaze Minato slowly put his hand on Bai Ye's ankle. Namikaze Minato seemed to have expected it a long time ago, the corners of his mouth slowly raised. Is there too much chakra? Is it a bad thing? I saw a green light slowly emerging from the palm of Namikaze Minato, and Bai Ye's ankle was healed after a while. This 683 times will definitely work. 307. Beginner's Success. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bai Ye successfully mastered the usage of chakra, and the children on the side began to cheer and boo. This guy, what kind of monster is it that he mastered it so quickly? Immediately afterwards, Bai Ye slowly walked down from the level surface on the side, and walked towards the opposite house wall. No way, this guy is going to directly challenge the second item so soon. And Namikaze Minato looked at the side with an extremely serious expression, as if he was a little shocked by Bai Ye in front of him. The people below praised Bai Ye one after another, and Bai Ye stood on the roof, unbelievable that he did it by himself. The feet were raised, chakra slowly disappeared, and then chakra under the feet was close to the wall again. The last step was finally taken up, everyone held their breath, and the stone hanging in their hearts was finally let go. After calming down, Bai Ye finally stopped shaking his body, and the chakra under his feet was distributed smoothly on his feet. Advertisement. The children watching below and the teacher were all very surprised. Bai Ye only had one last step to climb to the top, and there were some slight fluctuations in his heart, but it didn't affect the distribution of chakra at all. If this learning ability is used to learn ninjutsu, it will definitely be faster than anyone else. Hey! Hey! The ninjas and teachers who were originally in the room also came out one after another, looking at the boy walking on the wall. To maintain the precision released by each chakra absorption must be the same. Bai Ye stretched his arms and kept sliding in the air. Just when Bai Ye was about to jump down, suddenly a huge bird flew in the sky. Even previous Hokages failed to reach this level during this period. Awesome. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, chakra condensed on the other foot and was attached to the wall again. The elementary school teacher was shocked the whole time and did not dare to speak. Just as Bai Ye was about to take his second step after taking his first step, chakra suddenly became unstable on his left foot. Then in the middle of the night prepared to start stepping forward and walking vertically along this wall. Bai Ye's body suddenly began to shake from side to side, and it turned out that the chakra under his feet did not control the position accurately enough. And here is also the most difficult point to make chakra freely retractable on the feet, and at the same time control the accuracy of chakra. Then as long as you keep this state, you can successfully go to the roof and then come down again. Otherwise, the same situation as before will appear. Unexpectedly, this young man was able to do it successfully after watching it once. Quote exclamation mark quote. Advertisement. Bai Ye took a deep breath unhurriedly, and started to move forward. Bai Ye shouted excitedly, and the corners of Namikaze Minato's mouth raised slightly. Bai Ye, don't be nervous, take a deep breath and stay calm. Namikaze Minato reminded from the side, and Bai Ye finally realized it. After taking a deep breath, he closed his eyes and tried to stay calm. Bai Ye takes a deep breath every time he takes a step, and uses this method to keep his inner calm, so that chakra doesn't flow randomly. Good king, good. Wow. That's great. Bai Ye clenched his fist, and slowly raised one foot to stick to the wall, and then maintained his balance. They've never seen anyone adapt so quickly. This first step has been successfully completed at a 90-degree angle to the wall. The bird flew across the air in an instant, and the flapping of its wings directly slapped Bai Ye down. 308. Summoning. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Oops. Bai Ye was unable to keep his balance by the huge bird fan, and fell off the roof. It fell directly along the treetops on the side, and the leaves and branches were covered with clothes. Bai Ye, who fell to the ground, rubbed his head and buttocks and looked up at the giant bird in the air. The wings of this giant bird are fully 10 meters long, and the length from head to tail is about 15 meters long. Namikaze Minato stands tall on top of this toad. YF2F. It's so cool that I can have a summoning beast like this sometime. Advertisement. Wearing ninja clothes, but it looks like a dark brown skirt. The giant bird's eyes are very sharp and its body is black, 2 pairs of very sharp minions, and a sharp beak. This is my summoning beast. His eyes are piercing and his appearance is very cute. There are not a few ninjas who are accidentally killed by summoning beasts. I saw a huge toad suddenly appearing at the foot of Namikaze Minato. That's right, so this girl should be domesticating the summoning beast. Namikaze Minato explained slowly, and at the same time, his hands started to form mudras, and he bit the blood between his fingers with his mouth. I only saw a person sitting on the back of this giant bird. He held a strange weapon in his hand and had some scars on his body. This girl has shawl hair and a forehead protector that is the same as Konoha village on her forehead. Advertisement. Just now, even though Bai Ye was a few meters away from the giant bird, he was still disturbed by the wind blown by the giant bird. I'm sorry. Oh my. Namikaze Minato looked up at the giant bird and slowly flew away. Bai Ye frowned and asked, DBDB. After hearing this, Bai Ye was instantly amazed. He didn't expect that the summoning beast would turn back. Just as Namikaze Minato finished speaking, white smoke suddenly appeared all around. What's the matter with this person? Why does she have such a big pet? And it seems that he can't control this bird. What is the summoning beast? Namikaze Minato nodded slowly. 667. Bai Ye squinted his eyes strangely, looking at the girl sitting on top of the giant bird. Everyone has their own summoning beast. The summoning beast is very powerful and can help the owner to fight together when necessary. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato put the summoning beast back and stood in front of Bai Ye from above. Namikaze Minato came to Bai Ye's side and helped him stand up. This toad is as tall as 3 schools and has an extremely huge body. And inside the eyes there are some black ones, like commas. By the way, I remembered that Shisui's body also has this pattern, and I saw their eyes turn red when they were fighting. Bai Ye listened to Namikaze Minato's explanation, and suddenly remembered the situation when he met Kakashi and Shisui before. Bai Ye looked on very excitedly. Maybe you don't know yet, this girl is from the Uchiha clan, and their clansman has a unique pupil technique. This pupil technique can be used to cast illusions on people in battle, or to control illusions when capturing summoning beasts. Summoning beasts are actually very difficult to obtain. First of all, both parties need to admit to each other that you have to make summoning beasts believe in you. Secondly, the process of taming summoning beasts is also very difficult. There is also a red and black pattern like a fan on the back. 309. Why didn't I summoning the beast? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bai Ye kept thinking about the giant bird summoning beast that the girl was sitting on, and the toad summoning beast of Namikaze Minato just now. These summoning beasts are tall and mighty, and they look very powerful. Is it true that the bigger these summoning beasts are, the stronger they are? Namikaze Minato shook his head slowly and said. The power of the summoning beast is accompanied by the use of the owner. Everyone has a summoning beast that is suitable for them. Only when the summoning beast and its master fully cooperate can it exert its greatest strength. Even some small animals have their own value. 11. After listening to Namikaze Minato's explanation, Bai Ye seemed to understand the truth. At this moment, the clothes on Bai Ye's chest suddenly began to shake. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato and Bai Ye looked down at the same time. What exactly is it? I saw a little white snake poking out its head suddenly. It turned out that it was a little white snake hiding in his clothes. Oh, Bai, you scared me to death, so you are here. Namikaze Minato looked at this strange little white snake with an indescribable feeling. I can help you try to summon the summoning beast first, but each summoning of the summoning beast will consume a lot of chakra, so you have to be mentally prepared. I saw Namikaze Minato's hands forming seals, and a pair of huge scrolls suddenly appeared. If you want to summon the summoning beast, you must sign a contract with the spirit beast. Only in this way can you successfully summon them. Namikaze Minato looked at this little white lying on Bai Ye's body, very cute. Well, I'll let Bai be your summoning beast. I think the relationship between you is very good, so the success rate of this is also very high. Bai Ye patted Bai's head, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and nodded happily. Advertisement. It is good. After Namikaze Minato slowly took out a blank scroll, he wrote the little white's name on it, and took out a drop of blood. At the same time, a drop of Bai Ye's blood was taken out, and after writing their names on the scroll, the blood merged with each other. Now try to summon Bai according to my sealing method. Bai Ye followed the seal method of summoning, first biting his thumb and then doing it in order from beginning to end. Look at my summoning. Asking for flowers. Point 0. Bai Ye excitedly pressed his hand on the scroll, but nothing happened around. There wasn't even a trace of white mist, and the surroundings were empty, and Baipan looked at Bai Ye blankly on the scroll. Namikaze Minato also wondered, there was no problem from the beginning to the end of this step, but why couldn't Bai be turned into Bai Ye's summoning beast? Advertisement. Could it be that the problem lies with Bai? Namikaze Minato was also at a loss. Point 0. In this way, you can try summoning my toads again, use my blood and seal them. After Bai Ye painted Namikaze Minato's blood on his fingers, he did it again from beginning to end according to the knot seal. Come on, come forth, my summoning beast. Just as Bai Ye shouted loudly, there was still no movement around. Namikaze Minato stroked his chin slowly, frowning. It shouldn't be, why can't you do it? Could it be that you can't use summoning at all? This is the first time I've seen such a situation. Bai Ye looked at Namikaze Minato with a shocked expression and burst into tears. Why didn't I summoning the beast towel? 310. Bai's thoughts. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Faced with the problem Namikaze Minato said, Bai Ye still couldn't believe that he was the exception. I'm afraid Bai Ye is the only one who has this problem in the whole ninja world. Bai Ye's face was full of remorse and helplessness, how much he longed to have a summoning beast. At this time, the giant bird and the huge toad just now flashed in Bai Ye's head. Helpless, Bai Ye had no choice but to hug Bai and cry bitterly. 503. Namikaze Minato was embarrassed and at a loss, and didn't know what was going on. Although the summoning technique has some requirements on the amount of chakra, but Bai Ye's chakra is very huge, so it should not be impossible to use the summoning technique. There are no other requirements for the summoning technique, and such a failure should not occur. Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Ye's expression from the side, and felt very uncomfortable. Namikaze Minato also wanted to help Bai Ye very much, but this was the first time he encountered such a situation, and he really had no way of doing it. Advertisement. And Bai in Bai Ye's arms seemed to be thinking about something. It turned out that after Bai met Bai Ye, he took advantage of Bai Ye's accidental bite of Bai Ye that night. After the blood in Bai's body and the blood in Bai Ye's body fused together, the black bead on Bai Ye's chest was added. Now Bai is Bai Ye's summoning beast, and this black bead is where Bai lives. No wonder Bai can appear on Bai Ye's body at any time, because he resides in this black bead. Perhaps this is the reason why Bai Ye cannot use summoning. The blood in his body and Bai's blood have already fused together, so this one after another problem has arisen. And Bai seemed to understand Bai Ye's problem, and he was secretly happy. Because only in this way, there will be only Bai himself and no other summoning beasts beside Bai Ye. Advertisement. Bai seemed to be very obedient and slowly comforted Bai Ye. Bai used his tail to slowly soothe Bai Ye's head, and slowly fiddled with the hair of day and night. Bai Ye's mood also gradually calmed down. Looking at Bai in his arms, he smiled with relief in his heart. Forget it, I figured it out, even if there is no summoning beast, I still have Bai, at least I won't be lonely. Seeing that Bai Ye's mood recovered, Namikaze Minato also smiled with relief. Now you can't learn much here with your strength, now you have to find a better mentor to teach you. Bai Ye looked at Namikaze Minato curiously, with question marks all over his head. Why do I need a teacher? Namikaze Minato said with a speechless smile. Advertisement. Next year, there will be a genin exam, which is a competition that can prove the strength of a ninja. In this era, if you don't have the power to protect yourself, you can't live in this world safely. After listening to Namikaze Minato's words, there is some truth. After all, I still want to figure out my identity. Okay, so what should I do next? Namikaze Minato carefully thought about which teacher is suitable to teach Bai Ye now. Just as Namikaze Minato was thinking, there was a sudden sound of panic at the gate of the distant village. Bai Ye and Namikaze Minato turned their heads at the same time, looking at the distance of the village. At the same time, a Chunin ran to Namikaze Minato and said in a daze. A group of traitors are attacking. 311. Rebellious invasion. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This Chunin's expression is very terrified. It seems that these traitorous ninjas are extremely powerful. Namikaze Minato rushed forward immediately after hearing it, jumping back and forth on top of each roof. Bai Ye frowned at the side, looking suspiciously at the Chunin in front of him. At the same time, the rebels at the gate of the village destroyed and looted all the food around the village. All they can do is delay time and slow down these rebels. I saw a rebel, sitting on a huge tiger, slowly coming out from the shadows in the forest. It seems that the guy in the middle is the leader of the rebels. The people were very afraid to hide in the house and not come out. The other rebels took their weapons and walked freely on the main road to go deeper into Konoha village. Advertisement. Konoha village is like this. Humph. Earth-style dirt wall. In an instant, all the earthen walls in front were smashed into pieces. At the same time, they created a lot of earthen walls in front to buy more time for the people. Ha ha ha. Brothers, every village is in a weak state now, and no one can fight us. 7. I saw Renren with a wolf sitting beside him, and walked slowly 440 with the two-headed wolf. Holding weapons in their hands, these rebels rushed into the village. 31. Hurry up and search this village, there's another village to come. Seeing the rebel raise the sword in an instant, the child closed his eyes in fear and shrank into a ball on the ground. It's not enough. Advertisement. All I saw was a tall, strong and mighty rebel coming in front of the child, licking the blood on it. These traitors are constantly threatening outside the house. And these rebellious ninja gathered the things collected so far, which is a hill as high as a person. There are two rebels on the left and right sides, one with an eagle sitting, and the other with a wolf. This rebel has one eye blocked by a black mask and seems to be stabbed blind, his hair is messy, and he is covered in heavy armor. These traitorous villagers gathered food and money in the middle of the village after taking them. Jackal, go help him, hurry up and finish it and go to the next village. Be good, kid, it only takes a moment to close your eyes. Immediately afterwards, another traitor took up the big knife in his hand and chopped off the heads of these common people. The trembling child in the corner looked at these traitors in fear. Advertisement. These rebels pretended to speak kindly, followed by a 360-degree change, directly killing people invisible. In an instant, swords, and blood splashed on the surrounding windows. Just when the traitor was about to return the same way with the two-headed wolf, a kunai suddenly flew over from under his feet. Seeing this rebellious forbearance, he moved the two-headed wolf slightly. The two-headed wolf opened its mouth instantly, and spit out 2 blasts of force from its mouth. Just after these common people believed and slowly opened a gap, the door was instantly kicked open by these traitors. And some ninjas who rushed to participate in the battle were not the opponents of these rebellious ninjas at all. Most of these ninjas are Chunin, and these rebellious ninjas are basically Jonin. After throwing all these on the ground, a small mountain was piled up. I advise you to come out obediently, so that we will not kill you, only your food and money. 21. 312. Golden Glitter. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Huh, what is this? While the rebel was staying in place, a golden flash passed through the main road in an instant. The rebel's eyes widened suddenly, and then his chest seemed to be pierced by something, and he sat motionless on top of the two-headed wolf. This golden flash was so fast that none of the people present could clearly see what kind of ninjutsu it was. What the hell is this? The leader was wondering in the distance, only seeing the wolf motionless in place, not knowing what happened. Immediately next to this suffering, a shadow of a person appeared. Everyone turned their heads in surprise, and everyone couldn't believe it. Where did this guy come from? I saw this rebellious leader immediately turned around on the tiger and was about to escape. The 5 Jonins at the door were killed directly. It stands to reason that no one here can kill them instantly. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Ye and the Chunin who was thrown down by him suspiciously. At the same time, the jackal sitting on top of the two-headed wolf suddenly fell to the ground. These traitorous ninjas were clamoring for a moment and ran around with headshots. Damn it, this is our third family. Brothers killed this guy. These traitorous ninja subordinates were finally wiped out. After seeing Bai Ye, Namikaze Minato finally relaxed his vigilance and rushed forward slowly. At this critical Wang's good juncture, Bai Ye finally arrived here, and at the same time, Bai Ye was still holding on to the Chunin who ran to report to them earlier. Looking at the corpses around, the bloodline in the house, and the child. In an instant, a black shadow slid across the treetops. Cough cough. Things were robbed, the house was destroyed and people were killed, it's not appropriate to just leave. Who is this guy, and how can he be so fast? Advertisement. Only then did everyone realize that the jackal was instantly killed by Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato was immediately pursued. After Namikaze Minato came to the battlefield, he observed the surrounding situation. Namikaze Minato's heart can't hold it anymore. The rebellious ninja on the side suddenly shouted, and the other rebellious ninjas immediately turned their heads when they saw it, and slowly surrounded them. Seeing Namikaze Minato, he immediately threw dozens of kunai in his hand to the surroundings. Then Namikaze Minato observed the surrounding village houses. But they can never escape the range of Namikaze Minato. You don't even let some children go. These rebels on the side slowly surrounded, and at this time Namikaze Minato was also extremely excited. Run, brothers! Advertisement. And Bai Ye directly threw the stunned Chunin down from the tree heavily. At the same time, the leader finally remembered. The rebels beside them all died one by one. Namikaze Minato's teeth were biting more and more dead, and the anger in his heart finally reached the critical point. Namikaze Minato also has bloodline all over his clothes. And the leader in the distance is sitting on a tiger, looking at Namikaze Minato thoughtfully. Not good, this guy is the Golden Flash of the Third Ninja World War, brothers run. Golden hair, and this strange pain, and this guy's speed, why are they so familiar? One by one Namikaze Minato muttered while killing. 14, 15.37. Namikaze Minato's killing intent became more and more intense, almost instantly, these people didn't even have the time to blink. 313. Rape. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This ninja is. Namikaze Minato looked at the ninja stunned by Bai Ye suspiciously. Bai Ye stood on the top of the tallest tree, looking at the tragic corpse at the gate of the village in the distance. Now the explanation is clear, no wonder the village is suddenly attacked by your group of traitors for no apparent reason. After Bai Ye said these words, Namikaze Minato finally realized. No wonder when I came here just now, I saw that 5 Jonin seemed to be killed in one blow. If it weren't for the extremely powerful enemies, it would be impossible to do such a thing. If. Namikaze Minato explained on the side, and Bai Ye also looked at the group of rebels and the leader with arrogance. Advertisement. That's right, if there is an internal 360 response, it will be different. It seemed that this group of rebels couldn't bear it any longer. Their eyes began to float left and right, as if they were thinking of some bad idea. Bai Ye slowly began to speak, and announced what happened just now to the public. When this Chunin came running, I felt a little strange looking at it. But Namikaze Minato didn't notice it, maybe because of the battle, he didn't have time to analyze and think carefully, so he hurried to the entrance of the village. While I was watching this Chunin, there was a very obvious DBBB bloodline on the hem of his clothes and very muddy soil on the edge of his shoes. Obviously these situations are very unreasonable, so I followed this Chunin secretly. Everyone on the battlefield seemed to have stopped fighting, staring at Bai Ye standing on the treetop, listening to the results of his analysis. Sure enough, this guy was planning to do something wrong, and went straight to Hokage's house. I only saw that this guy didn't take any valuables from the house, but took this strange thing. Advertisement. While Bai Ye was speaking, he held out the book Vice Admiral from his hand. Namikaze Minato looked up at the book and suddenly understood. This is the terms and documents signed by the defeated party in the Third Ninja World War. Once it is leaked or destroyed, all the content on it will be invalidated. Namikaze Minato was on the side, and after telling the details, Bai Ye understood. Hey, this one riding a tiger, isn't he going to explain? Seeing that the leader couldn't sit still and was about to fight back. Stinky boy, you are looking for death, dare to spoil my good deeds, you little ones will kill me. All I saw was that the leader manipulated the tiger in an instant, and spit out a beam of flame light from its mouth. The beam of light directly attacked Bai Ye, and Bai Ye made an elegant arc in the air, passing directly over the beam of light. Advertisement. On the other side, the leader's second-in-command drove this huge eagle into the air, looking for the right time to attack Bai Ye. Just flipping in the air, there is no support to avoid the attack of this giant eagle. Multiple shadow clone technique. In an instant, hundreds of shadow clones appeared in the air, and these shadow clones were connected one by one, pulling Bai Ye's body like a rope. On the other side, it is dragging the giant eagle flying in the air. Like swinging on a swing, directly swinging Bai Ye's body in the air, a churning slowly landed on the wings of this giant eagle. Lightning style. Chidori. Bai Ye drew a huge thunderbolt directly in his hand. With his right hand raised high, a thunderbolt flashed across. 314. Put it to death and survive. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This blue lightning strikes directly towards the giant eagle in the air. And the person on the eagle's wings jumped from above and landed slowly on the ground. After the giant eagle was attacked, it disappeared into the air and turned into a cloud of white mist. Namikaze Minato was about to rush to the battlefield, but the group of rebels around him blocked Namikaze Minato's way. Bai Ye landed slowly from the ground, facing these two enemies alone and a tiger summoning beast. Boy, you are out of luck today. If you dare to ruin my plan, I will take your life. The leader of the rebellion flew towards Bai Ye with a tiger. And Bai Ye moved left and right on the ground, scurrying around under the tiger. In the end, the tiger could only pounce on nothing. Stinky boy, don't run around if you have the ability, and confront me head on. I only saw that this rebellious ninja directly manipulated the claws of the tiger. The sharp minions headed back in the direction of day and night. In an instant, an air wave with 3 claws appeared, and Bai Ye attacked. Advertisement. The attack range of these 3 sharp claws is really too wide, and they seem to be extremely powerful. The rebels around them smiled triumphantly. After hearing the voice, Namikaze Minato immediately turned his head and looked into the distance. Ha ha ha, this kid is dead, no one has ever escaped from my sharp claws. Bai Ye closed his eyes, as if he had instantly come to another space isolated from the world. The attack was getting closer and closer to Bai Ye, and the leader beside him smiled triumphantly. Suddenly, there seemed to be some black shadows passing by all around. What the hell is this? The leader looked around, but there seemed to be no response to these actions. Did you see this just now? A black shadow flew past. Asking for flowers. I saw these rebels being wiped out one by Namikaze Minato. Advertisement. Big brother, mighty, Big brother is really powerful. Quote exclamation mark quote. Whoosh whoosh. This brat doesn't even think about how good he is, he dares to challenge you, big brother. But accompanying them were black shadows one after another, killing these people one by one. This group of people laughed loudly, as if they had long forgotten the battle here. On the leader's side, they smiled triumphantly. Boom. Namikaze Minato panicked and ran towards the direction of the forest explosion, muttering worriedly in his heart. A huge explosion directly rippled across the entire battlefield. Ha ha ha. Brother, are you experiencing hallucinations? How could there be a black shadow? The speed of the black shadow was so fast that the group of soldiers did not react at all, but the leader seemed alert. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, several strange voices reached their ears, and these younger brothers finally heard them. Wherever they passed, the tree trunks were broken directly in the middle. You are dead, Bai Ye. This kid is dead, whoever told him to spoil our boss. A huge cloud of mushroom dust suddenly rose in the forest. Standing on the treetop beside him, seeing this strange black shadow, he immediately solved all these rebellions one by one. If I'm not mistaken, it should be. At the same time, Namikaze Minato also arrived here. You must hold on, Bai Ye. The younger brothers on the side didn't notice it at all, but it seemed that only the leader felt a little bit of uneasiness in his heart all the time. At this time, Bai Ye recalled the scene when Namikaze Minato fought just now. 315. Black Flash. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Finally, these rebels all saw some black shadows. But what greets them will be death. Namikaze Minato looked at this black shadow in the jungle, scurrying around quickly. The more you look at it, the more familiar it becomes, and it feels like the speed of his golden flash is already the same. Could it be that? Before Namikaze Minato finished speaking, he saw this black flash killing in the forest. It turned out that Bai Ye seemed to have mastered the method of Namikaze Minato's fast movement during the 643 moment just now. Relying on the strange tree trunks around the forest as a fulcrum, Bai Ye quickly scuttled around from all directions. And the tiger's attack claw just now seemed to be blocked by the black ball on Bai Ye's chest. Advertisement. This small black ball seemed to be infinitely magnified, just wrapping around Bai Ye's body. The sharp claws that attacked just now were directly absorbed into the black ball. And the black ball didn't seem to have any effect on Bai Ye. Because Bai Ye moves so fast, ordinary people can't see its body clearly. Coupled with the surrounding balls enveloping Bai Ye, coupled with Bai Ye's speed, it naturally moves at high speed in the forest like a black flash. It seems that this black ball has a fatal injury to these traitors. Whenever it is touched by the black ball, the touched place disappears instantly. The rebels around them all fell one by one, and now only their leader is left. Bai Ye stayed where he was after finishing off the last traitorous subordinate. Finally the leader saw clearly that the black shadow was the black ball. Then Bai Ye's head slowly emerged from the ball. Advertisement. The rebel leader panicked instantly when he saw it. You guy didn't die, what's going on? The rebel leader was very shocked, he didn't expect that the black lightning that kept attacking them turned out to be Bai Ye. It's a pity you didn't have the chance to find out. I saw only Bai Ye, who passed through the body of the rebellious leader like a black devil in an instant. The leader of the rebellious ninja disappeared in midair, and the tiger of the east summoning beast also turned into a cloud of ashes and stayed in place. Namikaze Minato, standing on a treetop nearby, watched the battle in disbelief. I can't believe this is Bai Ye. What's the matter with Bai Ye's speed? And what's the matter with his black ball? Now Bai Ye has more and more secrets. I saw the black protective cover on the surface slowly disappear, and return to Yu Yi's chest. Advertisement. Bai Ye also looked at the small black ball in disbelief. This little thing is really powerful. Namikaze Minato jumped down from the treetop and walked in front of Bai Ye. Your fight, I just saw it. Bai Ye said with a proud smile. How? I restored your ninjutsu as much as possible, and the speed should be about the same. Namikaze Minato smiled slowly and shook his head. Now your ninjutsu speed is much stronger than mine at 2.5. After hearing what Namikaze Minato said, Bai Ye couldn't figure it out for a moment. He obviously imitated Namikaze Minato's ninjutsu, but now he has surpassed it. How did this happen? My numbers are teleported on the basis of these marked kunai, but you can do it out of thin air without using these kunai at all. Hearing this, Bai Ye understood, and it seemed that he became much stronger again. 316. Dawn. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato shook his head helplessly. I wanted to knock him out and take him back to interrogate him to find out who ordered him to come here. Bai Ye looked at Namikaze Minato strangely, as if he had done something wrong again. What is the interrogation? They are just robbers and should be killed. After Namikaze Minato nodded slowly, he patiently explained to Bai Ye. People like this will definitely not steal this kind of book. For them, these things are useless at all, they only have treasure in their eyes. Hearing this, Bai Ye suddenly realized. Advertisement. I understand that they must have been instructed by others to do this kind of thing. Namikaze Minato nodded slowly, and the two returned side by side in the direction of the village. And just behind them, a white monster's head slowly grew out of the tree trunk. Slowly the whole body split from the trunk, covered with idiots. The monster's eyes were fixed on Bai Ye's figure that was slowly going away. It seems that sending these guys over is not reliable. White Zetsu said in a strange way, and Tiandao Pain, who was on the side, came slowly. Failed. The patter of rain outside filled people's ears, and dark clouds in the sky enveloped the earth. It seems that the sun never sees here, only this faint light rain keeps falling. Advertisement. However, I found an interesting guy, a ninja who doesn't know where he came from, maybe not even a ninja, but his strength is infinite. When White Zetsu was reporting the situation, suddenly a figure slowly walked out behind him. Oh, is it so? It turned out that Obito came out slowly wearing a mask, and now Obito uses Uchiha Madara's identity to control the entire Akatsuki organization. Then let him join us. Now that our organization has just been established, there is a shortage of talents. It is not a disadvantage to find more such people. When Obito was talking, a crooked old man slowly came out from beside him. This is my latest companion, Scorpio, let me introduce you. After Obito finished speaking, Yak was silent and the Scorpion walked aside slowly. Then let me tell, Scorpion is the chief culprit who caused the Third Ninja World War. He kidnapped Raikage. Now I bring him. I hope everyone can cooperate well. After Obito finished speaking, a space like Uzumaki slowly formed inside the eyes of the mask. Advertisement. And Obito was slowly sucked into this space and disappeared. Immediately afterwards, other people in Shao's organization also came to this building one after another. There were Orochimaru and Loquat Jukura, these people slowly stood aside, and the leader was Tiandao Pain. 117 inches go ahead and find some of our partners, now is not the time for us to be enemies. White Zetsu, you continue to monitor that boy. When the time is right, I will go there in person and take the tailed beast from Konoha village away. All members of the Akatsuki organization scattered in an instant, and a conspiracy was quietly taking shape. Let the world feel our pain. There will be no peace on this battlefield, and the fighting will continue and wives will be scattered. At this time, Bai Ye's heart suddenly trembled a little, feeling that some huge changes were about to erupt. Looking up at the blood-red sky, the limitless reverie in my heart. 317. One wave of unrest, another wave of rise. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After returning to the village, Bai Ye saw the corpses strewn all over the village, and for a moment, an inexplicable feeling rushed into his mind leisurely. Damn, when will this kind of thing end? Bai Ye clenched his fist tightly, as if he was very angry that he didn't come to rescue them sooner. Namikaze Minato walked over slowly, and put his hand on Bai Ye's shoulder slowly. Their deaths are beyond our control. Don't just focus on what you have lost, but also think about what else you have. When you're disappointed because you're missing a star, you're missing a whole universe of stars. After Bai Ye heard Namikaze Minato's words, he suddenly became enlightened. I still have all the villagers and everyone in this village. Namikaze Minato nodded slowly. That's right, it is because of them that we have the reason to persevere. Advertisement. Bai Ye and Namikaze Minato came to the villagers' homes together and helped them build houses to bury the dead bodies. Just after they had been busy for a long time, some sounds came from the gate of the village. Bai Ye looked at a group of people in the distance, and immediately became vigilant. Some rebels again. Multiple shadow clone technique. I saw that Bai Ye instantly used hundreds of shadow clone to surround the village. And that group of people in the distance are none other than the Jonin ninjas of Konoha village. And the leader among them is Third Hokage. Third Hokage saw the boy at the door, so he could easily summon so many shadow clone. The surrounding Konoha shinobi also became vigilant, thinking that some robbers had come to Konoha village. Advertisement. Third Hokage, let's take a look. Third Hokage nodded slowly, remember to be careful. After saying that, the two ninjas leapt forward in an instant. I only saw a ninja with a one-eyed mask and another ninja with scars on his face. On the treetops beside him, he came to the gate of the village first. Who the hell are you, kid? What are you doing at the gate of Konoha village? I only saw these two Konoha village ninjas questioning Bai Ye while seeing the miserable villagers behind Bai Ye. You traitor think you can hide it from us by using the transformation technique. The two ninjas started to move towards Bai Ye in an instant, and Bai Ye frowned as he watched the two ninjas. Sure enough, as I expected, it must be Chi Renren who was called by those guys. Advertisement. The ninja with the scar on his face summoned many weapons in an instant, and attacked Bai Ye through the summoning of the scroll. One by one, Bai Ye's shadow clone blocked the front and disappeared into white mist. And another ninja with a one-eyed mask seemed to be standing still, drawing something in the air in his hand. While dealing with these ninjas in the air, Bai Ye observed the masked ninja. I'm afraid this guy came to harass my attention in the air, and at the same time, Li Laohao came to help this guy and complete some ninjutsu that took time to make up for. Bai Ye murmured in his heart, looking at the ninja standing on the ground and scribbling. Absolutely can't let this guy finish. Just when Bai Ye was about to break through the crowd of shadow clone, a huge meteor hammer suddenly fell from the sky. This huge ball was about 10 meters high, surrounded by sharp spikes, rolling towards Bai Ye. 318. Jonin is not to be feared. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This huge spiked ball squeezed these shadow clones one by one into a white mist. Instantly rolled towards Bai Ye's real body. Immediately following a roaring sound, it crashed into a nearby hill, producing a large amount of dust. At the same time, the masked ninja kept sliding his hands on the ground, and it seemed that it would end soon. Haha, it's just that the kid who knows how to use some shadow clone, it seems that you don't need to take action this time. Bai Ye looked around and looked at the ninja who was drawing ghosts in the distant sky. What a hassle. Lightning style. Chidori. Suddenly, a piercing sound spread directly across the entire battlefield. The sound was both familiar and harsh, and the ninja floating in the air with the 823 ninja tool looked at the dust in surprise. Advertisement. After seeing it in the distance, Third Hokage was dumbfounded. At this moment, they firmly believed that the young man in front of them was definitely not waiting for nothing. The sound spread throughout the village, while on the other side, Namikaze Minato was busy sorting out some things in Hokage. Hearing the Chidori's noise suddenly, he immediately turned his head and looked out the window. Not good. Bai Ye. Namikaze Minato broke out of the window in an instant, and ran towards the entrance of the village from the treetops on the roof. Seeing Bai Ye's only, shadow clone used the same Chidori at the same time, directly piercing this huge thorn ball. After the explosion in the air, he directly attacked the ninja floating in the sky. I saw all the shadow clones attacking this ninja one after another. Even if she wanted to avoid him or use these ninja tools to block him, it still had no effect. These hundreds of thousands of birds exploded at the same time, forming a huge thundercloud in the air. Advertisement. A huge thunderbird instantly fell from the dark clouds, directly knocking down this ninja from the air, and instantly stunned him on the spot. And the ninja who has been on the ground, drawing ghosts, finally started to do it. Damn guy, see if I won't accept you. I saw dozens of black tentacles appearing from the sky instantly. These tentacles attacked in Bai Ye's direction. At this time, Bai Ye was floating in the air DBEI and had just dealt with a ninja, without any focus. Seeing these black tentacles stretching rapidly towards Bai Ye. Done. The masked ninja smiled triumphantly, no one can escape from my sealing technique yet. Third Hokage, watching from a distance, felt that Bai Ye had other cards. And Bai Ye suddenly raised the corners of his mouth slightly from the frowning expression. Advertisement. In an instant, the body was surrounded by this black ball, and these tentacles were absorbed by the black ball one after another. In an instant, Bai Ye flashed across the air like a black lightning bolt. These tentacles were dodged by Bai Ye one after another, and the tentacles couldn't react at all and couldn't keep up with Bai Ye's speed. Bai Ye is getting closer and closer to this masked ninja. Damn it, I must catch you. In an instant, dozens of huge tentacles suddenly appeared behind this ninja. It seems that behind him, some backhands have been hidden early. The corner of Bai Ye's mouth raised slightly, and suddenly he spun around, easily dodging the attack of these giant tentacles. Still too slow. Lightning style. Chidori. At this moment, Namikaze Minato rushed over immediately, and Third Hokage, who was far away, also flew over instantly. Advertisement. 318. I don't know each other. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The people watching the battle were stunned, only to see two figures suddenly appearing in the air. A golden flash flew to grab Bai Ye's hand, and hit the Chidori in Bai Ye's hand on the rock beside him. And Third Hokage flew over and grabbed the masked ninja directly. Taking advantage of the situation, he lifted the sealing technique he just drew. Namikaze Minato and Third Hokage rescued the field at the same time, which solved the crisis. Bai Ye looked up at Namikaze Minato, and this Noodle Island ninja looked at Third Hokage unwillingly. Enough. Stop. Namikaze Minato and Third Hokage said two words at the same time, and the restless crowd fell silent instantly. Advertisement. Third Hokage slowly let go of this ninja, and Namikaze Minato also slowly let go of Bai Ye. Minato, what's going on here? Third Hokage questioned. Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Ye, and was about to speak when Bai Ye robbed him. You group of rebels, you just beat you up, and you dared to come back after running away, and even asked us what happened. Facing Bai Ye's roar, third Hokage looked at Namikaze Minato in bewilderment. Namikaze Minato scratched his head in embarrassment and laughed. This may be a bit of a misunderstanding. Bai Ye frowned and looked at Namikaze Minato. Bai Ye is the third Hokage of Konoha village, and the people from Anbu are on the side. They came back after protecting the Fire Nation. Bai Ye looked at the third Hokage in front of him and the ninjas beside him, as if it was his own fault. Advertisement. When I met Kakashi and Shisui for the first time, they seemed to be dressed in the same way as these people. It seems that these people are indeed their own people in the village, not the rebels. Basically all the Jonin in the village have been sent to the border, so that's why the invasion of Renren just happened. Third Hokage also understood. It turned out that not long ago, some rebels came to the village to make trouble. No wonder Bai Ye was so excited, he used Shadow Clone to stop them in front of them. Ha ha ha. You are really good, you have such strength. It seems that you defeated many enemies in the battle just now. We don't know each other without fighting. Bai Ye smiled awkwardly, and the sufferers were the two Jonin who fell to the ground next to him, and the medical ninjas on the side rushed to treat him. Asking for flowers. Who told the two of them to strike first? I was forced to do so, hee. Bai Ye looked at third generation Huo with a smile, and it seemed that third Hokage was very kind, not the kind of high-ranking person. Advertisement. Okay, the misunderstanding is cleared up, all of you come here. Namikaze Minato took third Hokage and the ninjas of Anbu and walked towards the inside of the village. Point 0. Bai Ye, you also go back and take a rest. After such frequent battles, your body will not be able to take it anymore. After Bai Ye nodded slowly, he also walked towards the laboratory behind the village. And third Hokage watched Bai Ye secretly, and then set his eyes on Namikaze Minato. After returning to the Hokage residence, Namikaze Minato explained all the process of the previous renegade invasion. Third Hokage thought about Bai Ye thoughtfully. I'm really the boy you said named Bai Ye, who can learn ninjutsu in a short period of time, which is even more powerful than the copy of Sharingan. Namikaze Minato nodded slowly. Indeed, although he looks like a teenager right now, he is still just a baby in terms of numbers. 319. The action of White Zetsu. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It seems that third Hokage also understood Namikaze Minato's intentions. It seems that you want to train him and gradually become a ninja in the village, the last killer of the village, right? Namikaze Minato nodded slowly, then shook his head slowly. I hope he is just a ninja in our village, or something like a killer, let him decide. Third Hokage nodded. 440, while smoking a cigarette. By the way, what level is he now? I think he can deal with two of my Anbu at the same time, so this little guy's strength should not be lower than Jonin's. Namikaze Minato shook his head awkwardly. Advertisement. Actually, he's not even genin, so I want to find a teacher for him to study and then take the exam. What? Not even genin? Third Hokage was so surprised that he almost choked on his own cigarette. This kid even has your File Shendu, Chidori, and Forbidden Technique Shadow Clone. I think this kid has too many chakras, and he can't use them all up. After using so many Shadow Clone, Chidori, and your Flying Thunder God, I didn't feel tired after the battle. If it was you, I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to do it. Namikaze Minato also felt that Bai Ye's chakra was indeed huge. It seems that all of a sudden everything started from the appearance of Bai Ye, and slowly changed. And Bai Ye returned to the underground of the laboratory, slowly opened the stone door and returned to the secret room. After such a fierce battle, the body is more or less tired day and night. Bai Ye, who was lying on the bed, was meditating for some reason, and at the same time, Xiaobai slowly came out from his chest. Advertisement. The appearance of Xiaobai completely dissipated, Bai Ye's exhausted body and mind. Hey, Xiaobai, you follow me all day long, why can't I always find you? Xiaobai curled up on Bai Ye's stomach for a while, and nestled on top of Bai Ye's head for a while. Xiaobai crawled around Bai Ye's body cutely, slipping out from the sleeves of his clothes for a while, and slipping out of his trousers for a while. At the same time, White Zetsu's clone also came to the laboratory with Bai Ye. Isn't this where Orochimaru is? How did this kid end up here? White Zetsu is dangling in the lab and looking around. Why did this kid disappear in an instant? Could it be that there is a secret passage here? White Zetsu used his perception ability, and instantly found a house on the other side of the corner. So you are here. Advertisement. White Zetsu sneaked into the ground, then directly crossed the wall and came to Bai Ye's secret room. There is still such a place in Orochimaru's laboratory. White Zetsu looked around and saw Bai Ye lying on the bed and seemed to be asleep. It's a good time to start. Several small White Zetsu slowly splintered out of White Zetsu's hands, and they wanted to use these to parasitize Bai Ye's body to monitor Bai Ye. Just as White Zetsu approached slowly, Xiaobai's appearance suddenly interrupted 0.5 White Zetsu's plan. Xiaobai stared at White Zetsu with an extremely angry and ferocious expression. The appearance of Xiaobai completely interrupted White Zetsu's actions. Ordinary people might not be able to recognize Xiaobai's identity, but Baiju could tell that something was wrong with Xiaobai at a glance. The strange black comma-patterned horn on Xiaobai's head seemed to see his former mother at this moment. 320. New teacher. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It's so similar to that person. White Zetsu walked up to this little white excitedly, his hands trembling. And Xiaobai seemed very angry, bared his teeth and roared in the direction of Baijiao. SSS's. White Zetsu looked excitedly at the pattern on the little white snake's body and the horns on its head. Could it be that you are? Just when White Zetsu was about to take Xiaobai away, a voice suddenly came from the door. Third Hokage looked at Bai Ye with a peaceful face. It seems that Xiaobai can perceive the position of White Zetsu, and Xiaobai can detect this powerful malice. Advertisement. After Bai Ye saw such an operation, his jaw couldn't close. Bai Ye seems to feel that body skills and ninja tools are useless. Third Hokage and Bai Ye walked slowly outside into the woods. I heard that Namikaze Minato belongs to need a teacher, so here I am. I found that your ninjutsu development is very strong, but you need a lot of improvement in taijutsu and the use of ninja tools. You start at a higher level than the average person, and I'm going to teach you something that other people don't. What's wrong with Xiaobai? Are you making faces for me? Bai Ye will look at Third Hokage, but he didn't expect his teacher to be Hokage. I saw that the 3 darts instantly turned into 9. The 2 were laughing loudly here, and White Zetsu was watching secretly from a dark corner. After the Third Hokage came here, he was looking for Bai Ye, and White Zetsu 31 was interrupted by the voice of the Third Hokage. Advertisement. And these 9 darts flew from different directions, and after the collision between darts, they changed their flight paths. Bai Ye woke up and saw Xiaobai grinning on his stomach. Bai Ye asked strangely, and then the voice from outside became louder. Maybe you think they are useless, but I can tell you a few examples. How? Want to learn? If you have Shadow Clone Foundation, you will learn this faster, and you should be able to create new ninjutsu. Finally, the 3 darts circled from the front and flew behind them. Third Hokage clasped the 3 darts back into his hands. Then you must be very powerful, you are the Hokage of this village. Bai Ye quickly hid Xiaobai and walked out of the secret room. It turned out that it was none other than Third Hokage who came here. After discussing with Namikaze Minato, Third Hokage and Namikaze Minato decided that he would be Bai Ye's teacher. It turned out that it was Third Hokage who came here, and Bai Ye ran away in a panic after seeing Third Hokage. But White Zetsu had no choice but to suspend the mission plan, and instantly melted into the earth and disappeared. Advertisement. Third Hokage looked at Bai Ye and said slowly. Bai Ye, are you there? Not that strong, I heard from Namikaze Minato that you are also very strong. And Xiaobai secretly looked out from Bai Ye's chest, staring fixedly at the corner in the darkness. Third Hokage, why are you here? Bai Ye asked Third Hokage curiously, and Third Hokage slowly walked to Bai Ye's side. Third Hokage stepped aside and took out 3 darts from his pocket. Bai Ye was dazed when he heard someone calling him, and slowly opened his sleepy eyes. Third Hokage laughed and took a drag on his cigarette. Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. After throwing these 3 darts 870 at the same time, suddenly both hands formed seals. 321. Multiple Shadow Clone Shuriken. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I want to learn, I really want to learn, it's so handsome. Third Hokage laughed heartily, then walked in front of Bai Ye. There is another kind of physical jutsu, and there are very few people who can use this special ninjutsu to the ultimate level. After listening to Third Hokage, Bai Ye suddenly became interested in Teishu. And there is a body technique in the forbidden technique, once it is used to the ultimate, it will have 10 times the strength of shadow. 10 times. Bai Ye shouted in shock. The shadows in each village are the strongest existence, but this kind of strength that can surpass 10 shadows must be the same as crushing power. Teach me quickly. Advertisement. Bai Ye looked at Third Hokage with those knowledge-seeking eyes, and Third Hokage shook his head slowly. Right now, all I can teach you is the Shadow Clone Shuriken, and you need to hone it slowly. Bai Ye was so excited that he couldn't calm down, and Third Hokage gave Bai Ye a few shurikens, preparing to teach the basics in this area. The premise of this ninjutsu is that you can use this shuriken to ultimate. Third Hokage jumped directly to the treetops on the side, and placed several targets behind different treetops. Then you have to throw the dart in your hand right in the center of these targets. Bai Ye shook his head from side to side and looked at these handles. These targets are all distributed in Bai Ye's blind area, blocked by these tree trunks. But I can't see anything, and there is a tree trunk in the middle, how can I throw it over? Advertisement. As soon as Bai Ye finished speaking, he saw Third Hokage throwing 3 darts. The collision between the darts changed the trajectory of the dart in the center, forming an arc and falling right in the center of the target on the side. After seeing this scene, Bai Ye couldn't hold it together anymore, using this method to change the flight trajectory of the dart. This is indeed an adventurous and difficult process. When you can do that, you can try to put Shadow Clone on the dart in your hand. That way you get a lot of darts to help you change the way you fly through the air. After understanding, Bai Ye slowly took the dart in his hand and started the next attempt. I threw it 3 or 4 times in a row, but the results were not satisfactory. And third Hokage on the side finally understood, Bai Ye's powerful learning ability is limited to ninjutsu. Advertisement. Muscle memory and physical skills like this need to be honed continuously to be successful. And this kind of muscle memory and physical skills are the strengths that Bai Ye lacks. It is also the first time that Bai Ye has encountered such a difficult ninjutsu, but this has strengthened Bai Ye's firm belief. Bai Ye kept throwing these darts again and again. If it doesn't work once, come 10 times. If it still doesn't work, come 100 times. As long as you keep practicing, you will definitely be able to reach the level of third Hokage. These darts kept colliding in the air, some stuck in tree trunks, and some fell into the river. But Bai Ye never gave up, picked up these darts and continued to practice until he was able to hit the target successfully. Third Hokage, who was on the side, was also deeply moved by Bai Ye's unremitting spirit. He nodded quietly and watched Bai Ye's cultivation seriously. And the sky gradually turned from afternoon to evening, and Bai Ye's arms were also a little heavy. 322. Big bowl of ramen. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. He kept throwing these darts all afternoon, and now Bai Ye's arms were sore and limp. Come on, let me take you to eat. Third Hokage led Bai Ye slowly out of the forest to the village. The two slowly came to the main road of Konoha village. Third Hokage returned to the village with a lot of jonin, stepped up patrols around the village, and added a layer of protection. And the villagers in the village finally put down their guard and walked out of the house. The streets and alleys became lively, and some children slowly came out to play on the street. There are some small merchants and hawkers on the side of the street, selling some interesting toys, food and various supplies. It's so lively. Advertisement. Third Hokage explained to Bai Ye slowly. After Third Hokage nodded with a smile, he stretched out 2 fingers. 2 bowls today. Yo, it's Third Hokage, is it still the same? After the guests who had just finished eating at one table left, another table came on the back foot. Delicious. What's the name of this noodle? Third Hokage's sudden questioning made Bai Ye too late to react, and Bai Ye shook his head slowly. How is it? After the training just now, have you gained anything? Just call him Big Bowl Ramen. This place was originally much more lively than the 600 you saw. All the problems originated from the war. The aroma of the noodle soup and the texture of the bone fully bloom in Bai Ye's palate. The uncle on the side laughed. Advertisement. After hearing the name, Bai Ye smiled politely. Well, it's so delicious, it's delicious. This is. The people around are playing happily, and time seems to stop here for an instant. What should you do if you meet those ninjas who will absorb other people's chakra when you perform missions outside in the future? Bai Ye slowly bent over and got into the umbrella and sat on the chair. Actually, I feel that these are not important. I feel that they are not as good as ninjutsu. Practicing these is a waste of time. When the first bite is delivered to the mouth, it feels very silky, and the aroma of this side explodes in the mouth instantly. The uncle looked up and saw that there was a young man beside him, and probably understood what it meant. After hearing this, Bai Ye paused in his heart, and understood Third Hokage's good intentions. Here we are. Third Hokage stopped suddenly, and Bai Ye looked up into the distance. Advertisement. The village was suddenly peaceful, and Bai Ye was still a little unaccustomed to it. Although the noodle stall was small, with only 2 or 3 tables on the street, the business was good. After the uncle put the noodles, he turned around and continued to pull noodles for other guests. Bai Ye lowered his head slowly. Bai Ye looked at the bowl with great enjoyment, and then slowly turned his eyes to look around. Noodles are here. Take it easy. After they absorb all your chakra, you won't be able to release ninjutsu, and all you have to do is die a long time. Third Hokage and Bai Ye slowly picked up their chopsticks and began to eat noodles. Come on, sit down. Third Hokage walked slowly to the front chair. Third Hokage heard Bai Ye's meaning. There are also a lot of people DBCI coming and going, although it is not a long queue, but it is still continuous. The name was so easy to understand, Bai Ye gobbled up the leftover noodles in an instant, and even drank the soup down to the last drop. 323. Uchiha Itachi. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the early morning, the sun bathed the surrounding land, and it has been nearly a month since the end of the Third Ninja World War. It seems that those restless cases, as well as some rebellious bandits, have also quieted down. Ah, why? But there still seems to be a few people who are confused by something. Bai Ye started training here early in the morning, but after practicing for nearly a week, he still couldn't make these darts collide at the angle he wanted. These shurikens always failed to hit those targets, and they were always just a little bit stuck on the tree trunk beside them. Damn it, what is it? Why is this thing so difficult? Bai Ye's mood became more and more anxious, more and more uneasy. After the boy in the air landed slowly, he walked towards Bai Ye with an indifferent expression. The two stepped back a few steps at the same time to separate the battlefield. Advertisement. I only saw these darts hit the target directly after collision. All I saw was this boy jumping up in the air in an instant, throwing these in the air while descending in the air. It seems that Bai Ye and Uchiha Itachi of 3rd Hokage agree with this proposal. Bai Ye looked at Uchiha Itachi with a proud smile. Just when Bai Ye was feeling distressed, several shurikens suddenly flew from the side, and after colliding with each other, they happened to hit the center of the 3 targets. Bai Ye, this boy who was the same age as you is called Uchiha Itachi. I asked him to help you practice shuriken. Why? This is a public place, and I am also qualified. The 2 of you will go to the death court as long as you can. It's because you can't hit it. After turning around, it was indeed 3rd Hokage who laughed. Is he worthy? It seems that he is not half as strong as me. Advertisement. Bai Ye pretended to be careful not to be seen through by this strange boy. That's good. Since you are not convinced, let's compete and see who is better. Bai Ye looked at the boy with an expression of disbelief, and then at 3rd Hokage. The young man walked up to Bai Ye slowly, and Bai Ye also frowned and stared at the young man. Bai Ye, who was watching the battle below, was shocked and didn't know what to say. Bai Ye looked at the young man angrily, and infinite jealousy naturally arose in his heart. This sentence stuck to Bai Ye directly, and if Bai Ye wanted to resist for a moment, it stuck in his throat. Slowly, bursts of applause came from behind Bai Ye, a familiar voice came. 1, 2, ding, ding. 5 darts hit the same target at the same time, and more importantly, they penetrate the center of the target directly. Advertisement. Pretend to be 13. This kid obviously looks down on me. Bai Ye looked at the boy angrily. It was obvious that this guy was stronger than his cultivation. Asking for flowers. After throwing dozens of darts non-stop, they collided in the air and turned to other places. You're taking my place. Uchiha Itachi looked at Bai Ye seriously. Since 3rd Hokage chose this person as his opponent, he must be of relative value. None of the ninjutsu I learned was that difficult, but this shuriken took me a week. I haven't mastered it yet. Bai Ye looked back in surprise, only to see a boy of the same age as him walking slowly, with unusually deep nasolabial folds on his face. Ha ha ha. Good. I don't care about the medical expenses for hurting you. Don't sue your parents when you get home. Uchiha Itachi seemed unconvinced after hearing this, and 3rd Hokage laughed out loud. 324. Bai Ye vs Uchiha Itachi. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The breeze slowly came to a cloud in the sky, drifting slowly across the sunset with the wind. The only remaining ray of sunlight in the sky was directly blocked. Hey, ya! Bai Ye rushed directly towards Uchiha Itachi. While rushing forward, make seals with both hands. Multiple shadow clone technique. In an instant, 200 shadow clones appeared around, and after Uchiha Itachi saw such a huge number of shadow clones, 933, was shocked for a while. What? So many shadow clones. All surrounding shadow clones form a circle around Uchiha Itachi while punching forward. Looks like the chakra inside this guy is huge. Advertisement. In an instant, Uchiha Itachi suddenly opened his Sharingan, and the 2 tomo of the Sharingan slowly appeared, observing the movements of all the shadow clones around him. Sharingan twirled rapidly in Uchiha's eye socket. In an instant, the surroundings were blood red, and Uchiha Itachi had seen all shadow clones' movements and the next position in advance. I saw Uchiha Itachi jumping in the air and directly supporting shadow clone's shoulder with his hands. After jumping, jump around on top of these shadow clones. But Bai Ye's shadow clone jumped into the air, looking up at Uchiha Itachi in the air. Unwilling, Bai Ye chased after him, and after leaping vigorously, the remaining shadow clones also flew into the air one after another. One by one, the shadow clone chased Uchiha Itachi forward. Uchiha Itachi observes all shadow clone with Sharingan, trying to find Bai Ye's body. Sure enough, it still doesn't work. Advertisement. The difference between shadow clone and ordinary clones is that shadow clone is like a real existence. Even with Sharingan, there is no way to distinguish it. Uchiha Itachi took out the kunai in his hand as he stepped back, and killed the shadow clone chasing him one by one. But going on like this is not an option at all. Bai Ye's shadow clone, there are too many. Uchiha Itachi can't be wiped out. Lightning style. Chidori. I saw that after Bai Ye used lightning style, all shadow clones also possessed the power of lightning style Chidori at the same time, and moved directly towards Uchiha Itachi at high speed. Hundreds of Chidori made loud noises at the same time, and the thunder and lightning emitted by each Chidori destroyed the surrounding earth and trees one by one. When Uchiha Itachi saw it, he fled in a panic, grabbed the tree trunk beside him and jumped into the air with a roll. Uchiha Itachi made a mudra with his hands and suddenly opened his mouth wide. Fire style great fireball technique. In an instant, a huge fireball appeared and directly wiped out a part of the shadow clone that Bai Ye was chasing. Advertisement. But the remaining shadow clone still maintained Chidori's ninjutsu. After seeing Bai Ye's shadow clone connected to each other, he threw out the shadow clone behind him with his hands. One after another, the Chidori in the shadow clone's hands flew directly in the direction of Uchiha Itachi. And Uchiha Itachi twirled and twirled in the air, and after taking advantage of the situation to make a roundabout movement in the air, he pressed his hand on the back of the avatar and jumped high. At this time, Bai Ye's 4.4 body was waiting for an opportunity, and finally found the right time. Uchiha Itachi couldn't move freely in the air. In an instant, Bai Ye rushed out from the nearby forest. There is a loophole. The Chidori in Bai Ye's hand pierced directly through Uchiha Itachi's chest. Hey, lose. But what happened next made Bai Ye unbelievable. 325. Illusion. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The Uchiha Itachi in front of him slowly disappeared and became a shadow. This is Shadow Clone. Bai Ye looked at Uchiha Itachi who had just disappeared in front of him in surprise, and then another Uchiha Itachi suddenly appeared from behind him. Bai Ye smiled evilly and looked at Uchiha Itachi. The moment Bai Ye turned his head, and met the Sharingan in Uchiha Itachi's eyes, Bai Ye seemed to have come to another world for a moment. Just when Bai Ye was confused, suddenly the black ball on his chest slowly floated up. Damn, what's going on here? You were still fighting just now, why did you come here in an instant? For a moment it seemed to be separated from the world. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, I felt a burst of soreness in the shoulder, and when I turned my head, it turned out to be Xiaobai. I have seen Bai Ye use it in previous battles, and this strange black substance seems to have been seen by third Hokage somewhere. And Xiaobai slowly crawled on Bai Ye's body in the black ball. Good guy, set me up, it seems that I have to do something real. Bai Ye was so frightened that he quickly closed his eyes, and then the wooden sticks pierced it. In the real world outside, third Hokage and Uchiha Itachi looked at the wrapped black ball around Bai Ye in shock. It was blood red and his body was pitch black, as if there were only black and red in this world. I didn't expect this guy to do it too. Damn it, it turned out that he was trying to lure me to appear. And Bai Ye, who was trapped in the illusion, suddenly felt a sense of swelling in his body. At this time, the surrounding shadow clones are still attacking in the direction of Uchiha Itachi one after another. Advertisement. Many wooden sticks appeared out of nowhere in the surrounding air, and these wooden sticks stabbed towards Bai Ye quickly. On the other side, Bai Ye's body stood motionless. Immediately afterwards, a shadow slowly appeared from inside the ball. It turned out that Xiaobai slowly crawled out. Meanwhile, outside, Uchiha Itachi kept attacking the big black ball. Uchiha Itachi frowned and stared at the black 320 ball, while dealing with the surrounding shadow clone. However, after these ninjutsu hit the black ball one after another, they suddenly disappeared as if they were absorbed for no reason. Immediately afterwards, only this black ball in front of him was seen, slowly disappearing, and Bai Ye's body came out from it. Immediately afterwards, Bai Ye found that his body seemed to be tied to a wooden frame. 31. This coercion hit inside along Bai Ye's body. Immediately afterwards, a powerful coercion was instantly released around Xiaobai's body. Advertisement. So it was you, Xiaobai, it looks like you saved me in this situation, thank you Xiaobai. In this way, these wooden sticks stabbed towards Bai Ye one after another. The sphere kept enlarging, slowly enclosing Bai Ye's entire body. Damn it, what the hell is this? However, it was the first time third Hokage had seen this aspect of being able to absorb ninjutsu. And the black ball around his body should be the small ball on his chest. Fire style. Phoenix fire technique. Third Hokage, who was standing aside, also frowned, staring at the strange black substance around Bai Ye. It turned out to be Uchiha Itachi's illusion, so I fell into the illusion. In an instant, he suddenly came out of this blood-red illusion, and after opening his eyes, he looked at the darkness around him. 326. Counterattack. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi then used his Sharingan against Bai Ye, only to see that Bai Ye remained seemingly indifferent. It seems that this Sharingan's illusion has no effect on Bai Ye. Uchiha Itachi also looked at Bai Ye in surprise, and Bai Ye proudly walked in the direction of Uchiha Itachi. Are you surprised that your proud eyes suddenly don't work? Third Hokage felt that things were not that simple. In an instant, Bai disappeared among these shadow clone doctors like lightning. Uchiha Itachi tried his best to follow Bai Ye's trail with his Sharingan. What? Gone. Surprisingly, Uchiha Itachi's Sharingan couldn't keep up with Bai Ye's speed. Advertisement. Bai Ye quickly shuttled between these shadow clones, like black lightning, moving around Uchiha Itachi at high speed in an instant. After a while, the dust was flying around, and Uchiha Itachi's vision became more and more blurred. Third Hokage frowned at the side and seemed a bit impatient. Third Hokage could also see that Bai Ye seemed serious, even third Hokage couldn't keep up with Bai Ye's speed. Bai Ye's speed is now the same as Namikaze Minato's, only to see Bai Ye finally start to move. In an instant, Bai Ye came to the left of Uchiha Itachi and instantly punched. And Uchiha Itachi's subconscious reaction tried his best to block Bai Ye's blow. It's not bad that you can still react. It seems that the old man of third generation is looking for you for no reason. Next, you have to be careful. Bai Ye started to attack one after another directly, leaving Uchiha Itachi with no time to react. Advertisement. At the same time, the surrounding shadow clone is still interfering with Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi, who has always been proud, fell into such a predicament, and there was no way to escape for a moment. Uchiha Itachi is also the first time that someone of his own age has such strength. I saw Bai Ye mixed in the dust, and a black shadow passed by and then punched Uchiha Itachi. At this time, Bai Ye didn't use his full strength, and shortened the strength of his fist by half as much as possible. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Uchiha Itachi to stand on the ground at this time, already lying on the ground and unable to stand up. And Uchiha Itachi is still using his Sharingan as much as possible to track Bai Ye's speed. But there is still no progress from the beginning to the end, and I am always wasting my chakra in vain. Finally, Uchiha Itachi couldn't hold on anymore, closed his eyes slowly, and the Sharingan in the middle disappeared and his body began to tilt slightly. Advertisement. It looks like I'm going to be here soon. At the last moment of falling, Uchiha Itachi pulled out 4 shurikens from his pockets at the same time as he could. Uchiha Itachi used up the last chakra in his body, as well as the remaining strength, and directly threw the 4 shurikens at the same time. I saw this shuriken spinning rapidly in the air, avoiding all shadow clone after colliding with each other. I only saw one of them, Qian Lihao, a shadow clone, which circled the field for half a circle and then came to the back of Bai Ye at high speed. After Bai Ye felt it, he immediately moved to the left and reacted quickly. After third Hokage saw it, he immediately flew into the dust and directly knocked the arrow in his hand down on the ground. Immediately after, Uchiha Itachi flew out of this cloud of dust. After seeing it, he released his shadow clone, and slowly walked out of the dust. 327. Itachi's consciousness. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After the battle, Bai Ye looked up at third Hokage, and Uchiha Itachi he was holding. Bai Ye frowned at this shuriken that fell on the ground, then stared at Uchiha Itachi. Thinking to himself, knows where I am, and he can't keep up with me at all, how does he know where I am? Third Hokage seemed to see through the battle. Don't think about it, he doesn't know your position, but he definitely knows, and you will definitely use the last blow to defeat him. Advertisement. After Uchiha Itachi threw these shurikens out, he controlled the last shuriken and flew in his direction. Bai Ye suddenly realized that Uchiha Itachi knew that he would rush over at 9:03, so the target of the shuriken was himself. This guy originally fought me with the determination to die. If I hadn't used the last blow just now, he would have killed himself. Bai Ye frowned and looked at Uchiha Itachi, who would definitely be a respectable opponent in the future. Third Hokage looked at Bai Ye, and slowly took Uchiha Itachi away from here. That's all for today's training, and we'll talk about the rest tomorrow. After this battle, Bai Ye seemed to be thinking. And after defeating this proud guy, Bai Ye didn't feel very happy, on the contrary, he felt a sense of loss. Bai Ye sat in the forest in despair, looking up at the targets around the tree trunk. Advertisement. At this moment, various emotions seemed to be slowly surging in Bai Ye's heart. After sitting in place for a long time, he suddenly stood up and picked up the 4 shurikens that Uchiha Itachi threw last during the battle. Putting these 4 shurikens in his hands, Bai Ye had infinite feelings in his heart. Bai Ye walked slowly into the forest, looking at the shurikens in the hands of the 3 targets. I saw that Bai Ye suddenly began to train seriously, throwing these shurikens one after another, and then ejecting them in the direction of these targets. On the way back with Uchiha Dbaj Itachi, third Hokage stood on a roof, watching Bai Ye who was training in the distant forest. It seems that this battle has been very fruitful for Bai Ye, and it has been very rewarding. Third Hokage nodded slowly and jumped down from the eaves, taking Uchiha Itachi back home. After arriving at Uchiha Itachi's home, Uchiha Itachi's father and mother were very happy to see third Hokage coming. Advertisement. Third Hokage looked at them quietly, and then said. The child is tired and fell asleep, take him back to the house. After placing Uchiha Itachi, third Hokage came out from the house and looked at Uchiha Itachi's father and mother. The combat training I gave them both this time should have a great effect on both of them. Uchiha Itachi, after waking up, if there is any abnormal behavior, please contact me. After Uchiha Itachi's father nodded quickly, he understood the reason. You stay and I'll go back first. Before leaving, third Hokage saw that Uchiha Itachi's mother's belly was very big. Oh, it seems that your family is going to have another baby, congratulations. Third Hokage, after speaking, turned and left while Uchiha Itachi's father frowned, closed the door and slowly turned around to look at Uchiha Itachi inside the house. 328. Itachi's experience. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. What kind of battle will make his son change? Uchiha Itachi is considered a genius in his generation of the same age. But what kind of person is Bai Ye? He can make his own son change. Asking for flowers. Third Hokage turned his head to look at Bai Ye's expression. This feeling filled Bai Ye's heart with confidence. It was getting late, Bai Ye was sitting on a treetop in the forest, and third Hokage jumped slowly after seeing it. After the battle arranged by third Hokage in the future, what kind of changes will happen to the two of them? Advertisement. Bai Ye's hand feeling has been cultivated slowly, and he seems to understand the direction and angle of the shuriken's collision. And he began to think about the meaning of life, the meaning of being alive, and the meaning of this battle. A child who was originally indifferent became even more ruthless after this battle. In this battle, Uchiha Itachi saw all kinds of people. War. Indeed, a cruel war will bring about a great change. After the stimulation of this battle, Bai Ye is no longer as carefree as before. For today's battle, Bai Ye can't let go. Let's go. Go back and rest, let's talk about the rest tomorrow. After a while, Bai Ye began to sleep slowly, closed his eyes slowly and fell asleep peacefully. Obviously two people are the same age, but they do different things and think different things. So Uchiha Itachi kept his hands open from the very beginning, and he also knew that there were going to be some strong opponents. Advertisement. Still thinking about what happened this morning. Bai Ye didn't make a sound but nodded slowly. Uchiha Itachi cannot accept his failure, and Yuya cannot accept his shallowness. My own progress also suddenly skyrocketed. Knowing that war can change a person, Uchiha Itachi also changed in this battle. Xiaobai watched Bai Ye toss and turn on the bed in great pain, only to see that Xiaobai secreted a liquid from his teeth and injected it into Bai Ye's body. Uchiha Itachi's father frowned and looked slowly into the distance. In dreams, Bai Ye also always seems to be able to see Uchiha Itachi. Bai Ye was not very excited after seeing third Hokage, his face was full of worries. After hearing this, Bai Ye finally understood why Bai Yuzebo Itachi was such a person. Advertisement. After this battle, Bai Ye understood Uchiha Itachi's consciousness, and felt very small for a moment. Two extremely proud geniuses seem to be deeply attracted by each other's personality. Once you lose to the opponent, use this shuriken method to understand yourself. Bai Ye turned his head to look at third Hokage in surprise. After third Hokage and Bai Ye separated, Bai Ye returned to this secret room and lay on the bed without sleeping. And in Uchiha Itachi's dream everything can always see Bai Ye. Bai Ye nodded slowly, and felt that there was a distance of thousands of miles between himself and Uchiha Itachi. At the same time, Bai Ye kept practicing in the forest, practicing how to use shuriken. Maybe you don't know this, although Uchiha Itachi is the same age as you, but he has experienced the Third Ninja War. The impressions of the two people are deeply imprinted in each other's hearts, it seems that both of them are very unable to extricate themselves. 329. Happy event. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Day after day, getting up every morning and going back late at night, Bai Ye persisted like this for a week. Swoosh. Dong dong dong. The sound of 3 consecutive blows slowly fell on the tree trunk beside him. After hearing this voice, Bai Ye has become accustomed to it, and feels that it must still be a failure. Just as Bai Ye was about to go back the same way to pick it up, Bai Ye saw an amazing picture. I saw that the 3,477 swords I threw out were firmly attached to the tree trunk. And Namikaze Minato's baby is about to be born, and people in the streets are celebrating. Bai Ye came to the door of a vegetable seller and asked what happened. Advertisement. 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato. Isn't it 3rd Hokage? Why did a 4th Hokage appear again? And the extra face is Namikaze Minato. These 3 crisp voices were firmly planted on the tree trunk behind the target. As Bai Ye walked forward, he looked up and looked around, and suddenly found that the high wall carved with rock sculptures in front of him suddenly had an extra face. Bai Ye panted heavily and immediately came to Hokage's room, only to see 3rd Hokage and Namikaze Minato in the center. During the time when Bai Ye was running into the village, everyone was very excited, and the old and young in the village seemed to be very happy. It seems that you don't know anything these days. Namikaze Minato's wife is going to have a baby, and this is 4th Hokage's baby. After Bai Ye rubbed his eyes in disbelief, he observed carefully, and it was indeed Namikaze Minato's face. Whoa whoa. Bai Ye directly threw out several shurikens. But it's not ordinary sticking to the side, but piercing through the center of the target, directly passing through the target firmly and hitting behind the target. Advertisement. The uncle looked at the boy in front of him, and laughed. Bai Ye looked at Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato also nodded silently. What happened here? I'm not here for a week. Why do the streets and alleys seem to have changed? During this period of time, Bai Ye has been hiding in the forest and practicing non-stop, and he doesn't know anything about the outside world, so now Bai Ye seems to be a little out of touch with the outside world. You ran out, it seems that it should be successful. During your absence, Namikaze Minato has inherited my position as 4th Hokage. 3rd Hokage burst out laughing when he saw it. Boom boom boom. Namikaze Minato walked slowly in front of Bai Ye. In order to re-verify, Bai Ye fought back to the original place again. Clang clang clang. After so many days of trying, so many attempts, the result is finally coming. Advertisement. Bai Ye ran out of the forest excitedly. Throw a few more shurikens again. Bai Ye shouted loudly, and immediately ran towards Hokage's house. Uncle, what happened here? Why is everyone in the village so happy and beaming everywhere? Yeah, I did it. Yay. Bai Ye never dreamed that he would succeed, and it would be so powerful. What happened during my absence? I have one more thing I want to trouble you with. There were a few crisp crashing sounds, sparks splashed all around, and then arced across the air. It has to be told to third Hokage, and then go to the guy in there to show off. Bai Ye frowned and looked at the uncle strangely, then turned around and walked forward. 330. Meet again. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato begged Bai Ye mysteriously, and Bai Ye also felt very strange. My wife is about to give birth, so in the next period of time, I hope you can help me protect Uzumaki Kushina. Bai Ye asked strangely. Why me? The ninjas under your command must be better than me. Namikaze Minato smiled slowly and then questioned. Don't you mean you don't want to? Then I have to find someone else. Bai Ye immediately explained. I'm not unwilling, it's just a little strange. The ninjas under your command are stronger than me, and I must have a reason for you to choose 31. Namikaze Minato just smiled and didn't answer, so Bai Ye had no choice but to walk out the door slowly. Advertisement. Third Hokage looked at Bai Ye walking slowly from the side kindly, and then said with a sigh. This guy is short, he mastered Shuriken within 2 weeks, you know, even Uchiha Itachi practiced for nearly half a year. Bai Ye's growth and ability are really amazing. Bai Ye walked out of Hokage's house, then came to the street, and finally found Uzumaki Kushina after some inquiries. Immediately after Bai Ye jumped to the roof beside him, he saw Uzumaki Kushina was buying vegetables in the market. Uzumaki Kushina was shopping for vegetables and the people around were celebrating and wishing him very happily. Bai Ye was sitting leisurely on the roof beside him, looking around without any danger, and Uzumaki seemed relaxed and happy. Hey, it's not dangerous to entrust me with such a thing. It's a very common thing and it's not necessary at all. Indeed. On the other side, on the roof of the next house, there is also a person. Advertisement. Bai Ye turned his head and saw on the roof, and saw a black figure sitting on it. After the sunlight came slowly, it turned out that Uchiha Itachi was sitting opposite. It's you, why are you here? Bai Ye looked at Uchiha Itachi with a strange face, and Uchiha Itachi also stared at Bai Ye seriously. I was ordered by the fourth Hokage to come here to protect his wife, what are you doing here? Uchiha Itachi looked at Bai Ye suspiciously. After Bai Ye heard Uchiha Itachi's mission, he was quite surprised. You too. I also received this order to come here to protect Uzumaki Kushina. Uchiha Itachi stared at Bai Ye suspiciously. Are you sure? Why am I so weird? Bai Ye became even more angry after hearing Uchiha Itachi's words. Advertisement. I also think you are weird, you look like a stalker. The two of them suddenly stared at each other like this, and Bai Ye suddenly smiled wryly. I forgot to tell you, how good is the shuriken that I have practiced 987 times? Uchiha Itachi was very surprised after hearing Bai Ye's words. How is it possible? This shuriken can't be refined overnight, it needs a long time of training and a very strong memory. Uchiha Itachi's surprised expression made Bai Ye very happy. Ha ha ha, sure enough, you guys are very unconvinced, and you are optimistic about it. Bai Ye took out 3 shurikens from his pocket, looked around and saw a bird on the opposite roof. Well, how about I use this shuriken to knock off the last feather on the back of that bird's tail? 331. Bai Ye's shuriken. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi suddenly became even angrier after hearing Bai Ye's words. That bird was already a moving target, plus his last feather was so slender. Uchiha Itachi looked at Bai Ye with disgust. Using my Sharingan, I can barely see the direction of that feather fluttering, you can't do it. After Bai Ye heard Uchiha Itachi's words, the corners of Bai Ye's mouth rose slightly. Okay, let's make a bet, if I win, you have to promise me a condition. Uchiha Itachi didn't agree or refuse, but stared at the bird across the street seriously. Since you don't respond, then take it as your agreement, and watch my performance next. The bird seemed to be pecking at something on the opposite house. Advertisement. After Bai Ye carefully found the timing, he threw 3 shurikens in an instant. The shuriken spins very fast, but the bird reacts faster. Just after the shuriken flew halfway, the bird immediately flapped its wings. Uchiha Itachi smiled smugly, muttering to himself. The bird flew away, I'll see what you do, it's a target that flies at random and it's impossible to hit it. Just when Uchiha Itachi thought the competition was over, suddenly Bai Ye became serious. Multiple shadow clone shuriken technique. In just a split second, the 3 shurikens turned into 20 in an instant. A large black thing was densely packed in the air. Uchiha Itachi looked at the shurikens in surprise. Advertisement. If you fly over with such a wide range of shuriken, I'm afraid the bird will be killed by you directly, let alone hit the feather behind him. Uchiha Itachi said teasingly, but Bai Ye didn't have a lot of shurikens flying in the direction of the bird. Bai Ye precisely controlled these shadow clone shurikens, only to see that the flight route of this bird just avoided all these shurikens. What? Dodge all. Uchiha Itachi had a look of disbelief all over his face. Bai Ye turned his head and looked at Uchiha Itachi's expression, then smiled triumphantly. Don't be so surprised, it's not over yet. I saw these shurikens colliding with each other, and these 20 shurikens began to spread rapidly in the air. After the shurikens collided with each other, the flight path of one of the shurikens changed. I saw this shuriken slowly moving across the sky under the influence of other shadow clone shurikens. Advertisement. And this shuriken followed closely behind the bird. Ding ding ding. The sound of the collision between the shurikens was very clear, and only for a moment, the feather behind the bird slowly fell after the shuriken passed through the air. Uchiha Itachi, who was watching the battle from the sidelines, was full of surprise. He didn't expect Bai Ye to practice shuriken so proficiently. It took me half a year to reach this level, but I didn't expect to be surpassed by Bai Ye in a short period of 2 Liao Nuojiao weeks. Uchiha Itachi couldn't balance his heart for a moment, and couldn't believe that he was real. After Bai Ye smiled triumphantly, he walked to Uchiha Itachi's side. I succeeded, but you lost, remember to owe me a bet. Bai Ye sat down with a smile on his face, then his expression slowly changed, he seemed to be looking at Uchiha Itachi seriously. You may not know, but you have hit me hard. 332. Uzumaki Kushina disappears. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi seemed to be a lot more serious after hearing what Bai Ye said. The accomplices on the side suddenly understood. The two people who were originally quiet suddenly started arguing again. It seemed that the two of them would never be able to get serious. While running, he looked around, seeing that there was no Uzumaki Kushina in the surrounding streets and alleys. You don't know that, he is the wife of 4th Hokage, and you see he must have a child in him. Bai Ye also looked around in panic. I have experienced many things since I was a child, so I think I am much stronger than people of the same age, but your sudden appearance 297 completely changed my opinion. It turned out that when Bai Ye was fighting with Uchiha Itachi just now, Uzumaki Shin-yen was captured by a group of unknown people. The little brother on the side shouted flatteringly, this big brother seemed very angry. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi looked at Bai Ye's expression and followed Bai Ye's eyes. Bai Ye frowned and looked at all the people below, then shook his head left and right, watching but still couldn't find it. It's not your turn to order me now. Now that I know the truth of the matter, I feel that there is a big difference between me and you. You see farther than me, and you have gone through that battle, and you are much better than me. Bai Ye looked at Uchiha Itachi, then stood up suddenly. Can you guys stop ignoring other DBAG people when they are arguing? It's very rude. After Uchiha Itachi saw Bai Ye's expression, he instantly felt that he had misidentified the person. Now that Uzumaki Kushina has disappeared, the two of them don't know what to do with their affairs. Bai Ye looked around and suddenly realized that Uzumaki Kushina suddenly disappeared. Advertisement. After hearing these words from Bai Ye, Uchiha Itachi also seemed to be quiet. Okay, stop talking, we don't want this woman, there is someone else, hurry to the destination ahead. After that battle between the two of us, although I won, I was not very happy at the time. This street only has an east-west direction. Bai Ye, you look for it from the east, and I look for it from the west, and we will meet here. The two of them seemed to have forgotten the task they were doing this time because of the slapstick in the competition just now. Ha ha ha, brother, why are we tying this woman up? Before Bai Ye finished speaking, he ran quickly along the roof to the west. When Uzumaki Kushina was shopping for vegetables, a person walked past him and covered his mouth and nose for a moment. Actually, I envy you too. I feel that you are much stronger than me. Before I met you, I thought no one was my opponent. Advertisement. Looking at all the people around, Uchiha Itachi also seemed to notice something was wrong. Uzumaki Kushina fainted and was taken away by these people at the same time. Among these people, there seemed to be a leader who was smiling triumphantly. Damn it, where did it go? While they were arguing, Day and Night turned their heads and looked down. Missing. The group appears to be using a special ninjutsu to get through the barrier around Konoha village. Ha ha ha. Don't you believe me? Ha ha ha, I just deliberately played the emotional card with you. Brother Wise, it turned out that you wanted to use this method to kidnap this woman and take this opportunity to blackmail 4th Hokage. 333. Strange Buyer. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bai Ye and Uchiha Itachi kept running and looking around. And Uchiha Itachi couldn't find the location of Uzumaki Kuna after walking around the village, so he had no choice but to return to Hokage's house immediately. Immediately behind the stone there is a huge chest. The leader immediately closed the box and hurried out of the woods, followed by the other younger brothers. And in the depths of the forest, the leader who had just left and his younger brother saw everything that happened just now in the dark. The leader smiled smugly, and then slowly walked out and stood on the edge of the stone. And the white feet slowly grew out of the soil, walked slowly to the side of the stone, and carefully looked at the woman on it. It seems that it is right to go all the way. Bai, you continue to look for me to tell that annoying guy about this. Bai Ye put aside Uzumaki Kushina's usual items, together with Bai to find clues. Advertisement. Brother, so this woman is worth so much money, no wonder. Point 0. If you delay for a while, Uzumaki Kushina will be more dangerous. It seems that Bai Ye must hurry up. I saw Bai Ye followed Bai to this jungle, and found a strange vegetable basket in the bushes. White Zetsu slowly put his hands on Uzumaki Kushina's body, and when he was about to feel the power of 9 tails, he was instantly attacked by the Uzumaki clan seal. It turns out that Bai Ye brought Xiaobai out of the black ball, and Xiaobai has a strong ability to track. Just when White Zetsu was about to be sealed, he threw it into the ground and disappeared. Bai Ye thought about it carefully, and during the daytime today, Uzumaki Kushina did indeed buy vegetables from this basket. Well, so the Uzumaki clan still has descendants. It seems that the Uzumaki clan has not been killed yet. Advertisement. Some strange sealing chains slowly appeared around White Zetsu's body. After these chains grew out of the ground, they were firmly intertwined. Bai Ye followed closely behind Xiaobai. Although Xiaobai's search speed was relatively slow, it still had some effect. Asking for flowers, White Zetsu stood proudly on the stone, carefully contemplating the baby who was about to be born. It turns out that this woman has such great ability. And Bai Ye, who was outside, seemed to have found some clues, observing everywhere in the forest. I saw this group of people put Uzumaki Kushina directly on top of a huge stone. Damn, it is the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan. This is troublesome. Shadow clone technique. Advertisement. Xiaobai continued to search along the forest. Bai Ye frowned and held the vegetable basket. And Bai Ye continued to follow Xiaobai forward to explore the forest. Bai Ye must have found some clue when he saw Xiaobai's reaction. Xiaobai, come on, help me find it quickly. After the leader opened the box, it was full of a lot of money. I saw these thieves leaving here again with Uzumaki Jina's body. Since this woman has such great value, we can't throw it away so easily, ha 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 ha. Suddenly, Xiaobai quickly rushed towards the jungle in front of him. Seeing this shadow clone, he jumped towards the village in an instant, and told Uchiha Itachi the clues he found in all the news. 334. The 3 Caves of the Cunning Rabbit. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi ran to 4th Hokage's office and told all about it. I'm sorry 4th Hokage, we failed to carry out the task you gave me and please punish me. 4th Hokage looked at Uchiha Itachi slowly, and then looked into the distance. Things happened, it's useless for me to punish you, so we should think of a way next, how to make up for this, 147, thing. Just when the two of them were at a loss, Bai Ye's shadow clone suddenly jumped in from a side window. I've found a clue and found Uzumaki Kushina's vegetable basket in the forest just west of Konoha village. Advertisement. 4th Hokage looked at Uchiha Itachi, and then Bai Ye's shadow clone suddenly turned into a mist and disappeared into the air. Is it shadow clone? It seems that Bai Ye has mastered various ways of using shadow clone. Uchiha Itachi was very anxious. 4th Hokage, let's hurry up. After a nod, 4th Hokage jumped out of the window at the same time as Uchiha Itachi, and set off west of the village into the depths of the forest. And here in the forest, Bai Ye followed Xiaobai all the way up and down, reaching the top of the tree for a while, climbing to the top of the tree for a while, and observing the surroundings for a while. Xiaobai, are you sure? Why haven't you seen other clues for so long? How could you come to such a high place? Bai Ye stood on the top of the tree and observed the surroundings, and Xiaobai was also smelling it carefully. Xiaobai seems to have discovered something, and immediately slid down from the treetops. Advertisement. Bai Ye also jumped down from the top of the tree and followed Xiaobai, only to see a clearing in the middle of the forest. In the very center of this clearing there is a huge stone. Xiaobai immediately climbed to the top of the rock, and then walked around on it to smell it carefully. Xiaobai's eyes and attitude are very firm, it seems that Uzumaki Ju Naishin was here once. Bai Ye immediately jumped onto the rock and looked around, and there seemed to be nothing strange about it. Just when Bai Ye thought there were no clues here, there were 10 strange symbols on the ground beside the stone. On this piece of ground, it seems that something has been drilled, and there are some strange chain traces around it. Bai Ye looked around firmly. Uzumaki Kushina must have been here, and something happened, similar to the traces of a fight. Xiaobai, can you continue to search? I feel that we are getting closer to the truth. Advertisement. Xiaobai nodded and turned around again. Immediately afterwards, he suddenly saw the horns on the top of Xiaobai's head emitting a purple light. This purple ray slowly formed a body, like a purple fog in front of them. This cloud of fog slowly surrounded what was once Uzumaki Kushina in Bai Ye's hands. I saw that this cloud of fog seemed to be alive, leading them forward. Xiaobai and Bai Ye looked at each other and then nodded. They followed the group of 2.4 creatures in the forest at night. And Bai Ye made a mark next to the huge stone before leaving, and if they followed, they would definitely find it. On the other side, the leader of the thieves came to their place with Uzumaki Kushina. This is a village on the border of the Land of Fire, where all kinds of thieves and rebels gathered. 335. Hidden Rebellion Village. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Due to the location on the border, there are often some fighting between villages. The villagers here have fled a long time ago, either joined the team of these thieves, or became rebels, otherwise there is no way to survive here. There is already lawlessness here, and the countries on both sides don't want to manage this place, so they let them mess around at will. As long as their interests are not excessively endangered, no one will manage them. And some small wars between villages will also buy manpower from them. It also slowly evolved into a strange trading place. The gang of thieves tied Uzumaki Kushina directly into the house. 31 Uzumaki Kushina woke up slowly, opened his eyes, and seemed to be tied up in a strange room. Advertisement. Just when Uzumaki Kushina was about to use chakra, he opened these ropes and suddenly felt powerless. It turns out that there seems to be a strange enchantment around here, setting this place as a place without chakra. Uzumaki Kushina also had no way to use the sealing technique to leave here. Ha ha ha. You finally woke up. I was exhausted on this journey. Do you know how heavy your big belly is? Uzumaki Kushina stared at the thieves angrily. What are you trying to do with me? The leader of the thieves smiled triumphantly and walked to the side of the cage. What are you doing? Of course I'm arresting you to exchange for something else. Now that you're living too comfortably, I'll give you some food. The group of thieves started to leave here with a smile. You don't have to worry, we will spread your news, and then let your husband come and get something for you. Advertisement. Uzumaki Kushina was unusually calm, watching the group of thieves. What exactly do you want? Having said that, the thieves are very interested. Before I heard that some ninjas from the Land of Thunder would not even want their lives for a strange scroll. I don't want much, just exchange that scroll with you. After hearing this, Uzumaki Kushina was relatively calm. It seems that these people are not targeting the child in her stomach, nor the 9 tails sealed in his body. After the thieves finished speaking, they left here and went outside to eat meat and drink. After following all the way, Bai Ye finally came to the top of a very high mountain. Standing on the edge of the mountain, I saw a strange village below. And according to the hint of purple mist released by Bai, it is in this village. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, the fog slowly disappeared and returned to Bai's body. Bai Ye leaned on a tree trunk beside him, observing the village carefully. There's something wrong with this village. Standing at a very high 220, Bai Ye observed the inside of the village. It was found that there were no villagers in this village. The doors and windows of every household were closed tightly, and the windows were pasted with paper. Even with the lights on, it seems like they don't want people outside to see it, and it's supposed to be mealtime, but none of their chimneys are smoking. Something wrong. Even though there were problems, Bai Ye still couldn't be stopped. Bai Ye stretched out his hand and Bai lay on his shoulder. He jumped up and down and ran towards the village at high speed. Just halfway through the run, some strange people suddenly wandered around the village. 336. Strange Village. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After coming to the village, the surrounding defenses are very strict. But on the surface, there is no strange problem. Bai Ye walked out of the forest in desperation and looked straight at the village gate. The old man slowly took out the key and opened the door. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he walked slowly towards the house in front of him. I'm sorry to trouble you. Immediately afterwards, How Nuo Jiao, Bai Ye looked at the bowl of porridge in front of him, a large bowl of white rice porridge, and there seemed to be no strange problem with Zhu. The owner of this house lived on the second floor, and heard Bai Ye's door opening. Advertisement. After Bai Ye walked inside slowly, he saw that it was messy everywhere. Although the room was not big, some haystacks were still relatively soft. And this guard stared at Bai Ye's background, slowly revealing an evil smile in the night. Don't look around, just walk and follow me. Quote. There seems to be a very large pool at the door of every household around, and there are some strange golden liquids in the pool. After coming to the village, it became even more weird here. After tiptoeing, Bai Ye came out of the house, he closed the door softly and leaned against the wall, hiding in this deep mountain village. Thank you so much, I'm embarrassed to live with you, but thank you so much for eating your food again. Bai Ye quietly followed the guard behind him, observing the village carefully. After the old man walked out, he closed the door, and Bai Ye walked in the room and looked around. Bai Ye immediately turned his head and walked carefully behind. Advertisement. Stop. Who are you? The two guards looked at each other after hearing Bai Ye's words, and then the corners of their mouths raised slightly, wondering what they were thinking. All right then, I'll take you to the village. Okay, I'm going to sleep soon, the night is getting late in this village. Bai Ye said with a smile all over his face. I came here after I wandered here and got separated from my family, and then got lost in this forest. After gently releasing Bai, put it on his shoulder as a direction guide. Bai Ye nodded with a smile on his face. After Bai Ye drank the bowl of porridge directly in his stomach, he was about to start investigating the surrounding area to find out where Uzumaki Jushintai was. Someone just said that someone might come to stay with me temporarily tonight, and it should be you. Advertisement. After walking not far, Bai Ye felt that he should have reached the center of the village, only to see the guard stop and point his hand at the house in front of him. I saw a village here just now, so I came here and wanted to ask to be able to spend the night here. Bai Ye thanked him immediately after seeing the bowl of porridge by the window. The old man turned around slowly and waved his hands. You can live there. It used to be used to raise some livestock. Now it has been tidied up, and it is just some haystacks. I just prepared some food for you, and it's on the table by the window. Getting lost in the forest, it's not a good journey. We are the only village in this area of 100 miles. You should drink some porridge and rest for a while. Thank you, I'm really sorry to bother you. I will only stay for one night. I will leave immediately after the morning, so I won't disturb you. It's a bit dirty here, so you can make do with it first. The two guards took out their spears and pointed at Bai Ye in front of them. 337. Attacked. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Relying on his sense of smell, Bai began to search for the location of Uzumaki Kushina in the village. On the other side, 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi came to the middle of the forest and found the huge stone. Follow the signs along the way and come here. Bai Ye is definitely not wasting time, there must be clues here, look carefully. Seeing Uchiha Itachi immediately opened Sharingan, carefully observing all the small things around. Suddenly found some strange marks on the edge of the stone. 4th Hokage, come and see. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi stared at the side of the stone together, as if something had grown out of nowhere on the ground and then disappeared. Namikaze Minato carefully perceives the surrounding Cha 773 carats by using Senjutsu. Advertisement. It's the chakra of Uzumaki Kushina. This is the chakra of the sealing technique on his body. It seems that we are on the right route. Take a closer look. Are there any clues here? After Uchiha Itachi circled the stone several times, he finally found Bai Ye's mark in the corner of the crevice. I found the 4th Hokage. From here, his direction should be in the woods in the north. The two set off in an instant, and quickly moved towards the depths of the forest on the other side. Bai Ye was currently in the shadow of the village, secretly observing every house. But never found any useful clues. All the houses are tightly sealed, and it is impossible to observe what is going on inside. And Bai also seemed to feel a little strange. Bai Ye looked at Bai trying to get some clues, but he never found anything. Bai said something to Bai Ye. Advertisement. After Bai Ye heard it, he seemed to know the reason. You mean that when you were outside the village, you could find the location of Uzumaki Kushina, but when you came inside the village, you suddenly couldn't perceive it, did you? Bai nodded weakly. Okay, then I probably understand. It's not suitable to stay here for a long time. Bai, you go back first, and I will go back to the house, so as not to startle the snake. Bai Ye just closed the door, DBFG, after returning to the house, ready to erase his whereabouts just now, and felt dizzy for a moment. The feeling of getting dizzy and lightheaded is very obvious. Bai Ye's body began to visibly shake and walk unsteadily. Only then did Bai Ye realize that there was something wrong with the porridge he had just had. At this moment, the wooden door was suddenly broken open, and a puff of smoke slowly enveloped Bai Ye's surroundings. From the dust, a strange and distorted figure was walking towards Bai Ye. Advertisement. Walking out of the dust slowly is like a monster. Its hands are like praying mantises, but its head is like a cow, and its body is tall and mighty like an elephant. The face is like the mouth of a centipede, and this monster is like a variety of animals, stitched together. Bai Ye's head became more and more dizzy and his body began to shake non-stop. I saw the monster slashing out with the sharp blade in its hand. The wooden house was directly divided into two and collapsed in an instant. Bai Ye crawled out of the house and stood outside the dust. Not far away, the old man who lived on the second floor was lying on the ground, seemingly in great pain. Immediately afterwards, he saw the monster in front of him rushing towards Bai Ye. Bai Ye took the risk and immediately stood in front of the uncle, ready to release ninjutsu. 338. Strange combination beast body. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Where did you come from, you monster? You don't want to hurt the people in this village, sir, run here quickly. Just before Bai Ye finished speaking, a sudden sharp pain passed through Bai Ye's spine. Here. You guys, take a look at why this thing is gone. The more this uncle thinks about it, the more something is wrong. How could Shadow Clone bleed? Obviously just now saw blood flowing out. After Bai Ye walked into the village, he felt a little strange when he saw the bowl of porridge. Just when the monster was about to use the final blow to stun Bai Ye turned into a white mist and disappeared into the air. I saw this monster slowly approaching Bai Ye, but Bai Ye couldn't use any strength from his body. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi 4th Hokage, you guys are finally here. Asking for flowers. After Bai Ye mastered these clues, he returned to the mountaintop on the edge of the village. After seeing this situation, the uncle was startled, and the monster stopped attacking. I saw Bai Ye turning his head slowly and found that it was the old man stabbing him in the back with a dagger in his hand. Just now Bai Ye has been manipulating his shadow clone to search for traces in the village. What's going on here? How did it disappear out of thin air? Could it be shadow clone? What? The old man stood up with a smug expression, and then looked at Bai Ye with a look of contempt. The white mist dissipated slowly, and a bag filled with red liquid slowly floated down. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi stared into the distance with their eyes, staring at the various monsters. 0. You're so powerful that you can still stay awake after drinking the poison. Let me see. How can you still run? Why are you, Bai Ye, condescending? observing from above, and at the same time Tekia Itachi and 4th Hokage also came. So since then Bai Ye has used Shadow Clone as his own body, and Bai Ye's body continues to search for clues in the shadowy corners of the village. Bai Ye told him all about using Shadow Clone and what he saw in it. This is the whole process. Look at the huge monster in the middle of the village. Anyway, I always feel that the villagers here are strange but I can't tell. And Bai Ye has already found some clues in the village during the time he used Shadow Clone to tune Huli. Advertisement. Well, logically speaking, it is impossible for this village to hide such a big monster. Now Bai Ye's body is very weak, coupled with a headache and dizziness, the sudden stabbing pain behind him makes Bai Ye even more unbearable. It turned out that Bai Ye already had a backup method, and put a bag of pig blood on Shadow Clone in advance. Damn it, I'm so old to be tricked by this kid. Bai Ye and Uchiha Itachi turned their heads to look at the four at the same time. Obviously, these people should also be captured by them, and then they were stunned and soaked in the middle of the pool, not knowing what they wanted to do. The instant Namikaze Minato finished speaking, the monster disappeared and turned into a white mist. These people lay down in one pool after another, and some people were put in a corner beside them. Even in a house in this village, many fainting people were found day and night. Hearing someone calling him in the middle of the night, he turned his head immediately, ready to start fighting vigilantly, and suddenly found that it was Uchiha Itachi and 4th Hokage who let down their vigilance. 339. Strange Summoning Beast. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The eyes of Uchiha Itachi and Bai Ye were also very surprised. Everyone frowned and looked around for where this monster was hiding. I searched everywhere but couldn't find it, and at this time Namikaze Minato was standing aside, and seemed to come up with an incredible answer in his heart. If I'm not mistaken, that big guy just now should be a summoning beast. After hearing what Namikaze Minato said, it is true that the reason why this monster disappeared out of thin air can also be explained clearly as 263. If this thing is indeed a summoning beast, then it is indeed possible to summon it like this and then disappear out of thin air. The sky gradually darkened, and since the old man searched for a long time, but couldn't find any trace of Bai Ye, he should have returned to the house to rest. Let's all stay for a while, and then go to the village in the middle of the night, and go directly to the house that Bai Ye found. Bai Ye and Uchiha Itachi listened to the Namikaze Minato deployment plan. The night slowly deepened, and insects in the depths of the forest made some strange noises, and a few birds flew in the air from time to time. Advertisement. Okay, ready to act. The three of them moved quickly towards the building in front of them. Quietly along the surrounding high walls to the outskirts of the village. But I still couldn't find a suitable opportunity to sneak in, and there were always guards patrolling back and forth. These guards seem to be very orderly, as long as one of the teams leaves, the other team will immediately make up for it. This very rigorous and logical deployment is definitely operated secretly. I'm afraid there is another person who hides deeply in this village, who is dominating the whole village. Shadow Clone Technique. Transformation Technique. I saw that Bai Ye directly used Shadow Clone and then used Transformation Technique to turn into a small butterfly. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi stared nervously at the butterfly as it fluttered in the air. Bai Ye controlled the Shadow Clone to turn into a butterfly and slowly flew towards the village. The surrounding guards seemed indifferent to these small insects, and there didn't seem to be any threat. Bai Ye manipulated the butterfly in a long way, climbed over the high wall and flew directly to the other side. After everyone saw the successful past of Shadow Clone, the three of them also used Transformation Technique accordingly. Transformation Technique. Bai Ye turned into a mosquito, while Namikaze Minato turned into a seven-spotted ladybug, Uchiha Itachi a locust. Everyone immediately launched and attacked the village. The three bugs started to fly towards the high wall in front of them from three directions at the same time. Advertisement. They are getting closer and closer to these guards, and these guards don't seem to have any other expressions. Just as Bai Ye flew to their side, suddenly a pair of huge palms stretched out towards Bai Ye. Terrified, Bai Ye quickly flapped his wings and slipped away from between the fingers of his palm. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi on the side stood still and looked at Bai Ye. No way, has this been discovered? I saw the guard muttering 1.1 while struggling. There are so many mosquitoes in this mountain, it's really annoying. I already have several bumps on my body, and now I want to beat them when I see them. Bai Ye breathed a sigh of relief after hearing this person say this. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi also moved forward. Unlucky, unlucky, unlucky. I wouldn't have turned into a mosquito if I knew it earlier. This guy is too difficult to deal with. 340. No way. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I saw Bai Ye flying fast, hastily dodging the guard's attack. Finally flying to this high wall, the guard also stopped attacking and returned to the team to continue patrolling. Woo. Bai Ye looked for traces of Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi on the high wall, but he never saw them. Where are they? Why are they missing? Just as Bai Ye was searching carefully, suddenly Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi appeared beside him. The scared Bai Ye didn't have a good balance and fell from the wall first. Why are you arriving at 31 so soon? Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi looked at Bai Ye speechlessly. Just when you were having fun with that guard, we were already here. Bai Ye was suddenly prevaricated and didn't know what to say. Let's go, I'll show you the way. The three jumped from the high wall into the village, Bai Ye led the way, and the two followed. Finally, I went around several detours and came to the front of the building. The three of them leaned on the edge of the window and carefully watched the situation inside through the gaps in the wooden boards. Indeed, there are a lot of liquid soaking some human bodies in these huge pools, and some dizzy people are stored in the corners beside them. After seeing these people, 4th Hokage suddenly remembered a report he had seen in Hokage's house. Advertisement. I had received reports about these people missing before, and then sent some ninjas, but there was no response either. Bai Ye continued to ask, the most important thing now is what these people want to do. There are so many people tied up here, it's definitely not just to soak in these pools. And the clues were interrupted after reaching here, and there was no trace of Uzumaki Kushina. 4th Hokage looked around. The three of us split up to start the investigation, and come back here after the search. If there is any situation, we will immediately use fire style to remind others. After the three nodded to each other, they continued to search in other directions of the village. Bai Ye looked carefully at the surrounding houses one by one. Some houses were airtight, and without light it was impossible to see what was going on inside. And Uchiha Itachi is much more convenient, his Sharingan can still see clearly even if there is a faint gap without light. Uchiha Itachi found that not only the other rooms in this room, but also every other room was full of these missing people. Advertisement. What is this village trying to do by arresting so many people, and it seems that the villagers in this village are also very strange. As time passed by every minute and every second, 290 people looked all over in all directions, but there was no trace of Uzumaki Kushina. After the three of them searched, they returned along the same road and came to the center of the village together, which was also the place where Bai Ye was attacked before. There is still no clue from my side, Namikaze Minato said shaking his head. Bai Ye looked at their door slowly, it's the same here. Uchiha Itachi also shook his head helplessly. It seems that no one has found out where Uzumaki Kushina is hiding in this village. It is certain that there must be weirdness in this village, but they still can't find a breakthrough. The three disappointed people looked around in the middle of the village. 341. Four Sides Chuje. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When everyone was extremely lost, Uchiha Itachi suddenly used Sharingan to observe this strange pool in the middle of the village. It seems that this pool is extremely unreasonable to be placed here, and it doesn't seem to have any effect. It is very abrupt to be placed here. Uchiha Itachi flew slowly towards the pool. Bai Ye and Namikaze Minato looked at each other and followed Uchiha Itachi slowly. Just when Uchiha Itachi could immediately see the clue, suddenly there was a loud noise beside them. Dust was flying all around, and from the dust, it turned out to be the summoning beast just now. The summoning beast seemed to recognize the bugs the three of them had turned into. So quickly launched an attack on them. Advertisement. The sound of the shock attack was very loud, and the old man upstairs also slowly woke up and looked out. The guards around the village also rushed over. Due to the sudden impact of the attack, Bai Ye, Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi were suddenly released from transformation technique. Only then did the guards realize that the three of them had turned into bugs and sneaked in secretly. And the old man immediately walked down from the house. Okay, it really didn't take much effort to get here, and I delivered it to my door. Quote. The loud and noisy sound woke up the people in other houses as well. After these people came out of the house, they stared at Bai Ye and the others with malicious faces. Don't let these guys get away. I saw these people forming seals with their hands in an instant, and then drew a strange totem on the ground. Immediately afterwards, monsters rose up one after another, and surrounded Bai Ye and the others in an instant. Advertisement. Uchiha Itachi looked at the way these people made seals, and it seemed that they were not summoning beasts. And they don't seem to have formed a contract with these summoning beasts. Gimme it. Summoning beasts surrounded them one by one, and the whole village was filled with smog. And some of these summoning beasts around are flying in the sky, like a huge peacock. Some are vicious dogs with 3 heads like the 3-headed hellhound. There are also 9 monsters with heads like lions. These summoning beasts look so weird that Namikaze Minato can't understand them. These things are not summoning beasts, but they have the same abilities as summoning beasts. The men who kidnapped Uzumaki Kushina also came out of the house. Looking at the center of the 3 people surrounded, there is a man with blonde hair and a man who is about the same age as Uzumaki Kushina. Advertisement. Looks right, this guy is the boss of Namikaze Minato, what should we do? Seeing this, the leader smiled triumphantly, and then crawled out from the ground. What are you afraid of? His wife is still here, so the summoning beast made from this guy's body should be stronger. The younger brothers on the side smiled triumphantly. It seems that we really got it without any effort. Immediately afterwards, the leader Li Hao jumped up and stood on the highest roof beside him. Namikaze Minato, I didn't expect you to find this place. Namikaze Minato immediately looked up at the fat and ugly chief. Why did you take Uzumaki Kushina? The chief smiled triumphantly and treacherously. Of course I want to make a deal with you. It's a good thing that you have passed it yourself. It seems that you have no bargaining chips. You guys don't want to leave. Leave them all to me. 342. Guerrilla Warfare. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The surrounding enemies, after listening to their leader's order, immediately summoned these summoning beasts to attack Bai Ye and the three of them. Let's disperse first and run quickly. After Namikaze Minato gave an order, the three of them jumped out of the encirclement in an instant in different directions. Bai Ye is running towards the front of the village, while Uchiha is going towards the back of the village, and Namikaze Minato is waiting for an opportunity. These extremely tall summoning beasts scattered directly, chasing the three of them one by one, and the surrounding soldiers seemed unwilling to stay and follow the summoning beasts to start chasing them. Bai Ye turned his head to look at the people in the village and these strange summoning beasts. Advertisement. I only saw 613 sitting on the summoning beast like a huge centipede with legs all over his body. Swimming around non-stop on the ground, and another person is flying fast in the air on a giant eagle. Immediately afterwards, the ninjas in the surrounding villages all ran away one after another. One by one they all joined the chase and started chasing the three of them. Uchiha Itachi threw shurikens backwards as he ran away, trying to use them to distract them and do some damage. But the result is unexpected. These summoning beasts have strong, DBDF, large outer bodies, which bounce these shurikens out. Fire style. Phoenix fire technique. When Bai Ye turned around in an instant and leaned back in the air, he spit out several fireballs from his mouth and spun in the air, attacking in all directions. The smoke produced after the explosion directly disrupted their vision, making it impossible for these summoning beasts to move forward. Advertisement. After the dust settled, Bai Ye also disappeared. Because the night was too deep and there was no light in the surrounding forest, there was no trace of Bai Ye at all. Damn little thing, can you still run? It turned out that Bai Ye came directly to the gap between the rooms behind them in just a moment. Whoa. The most dangerous place is the safest place, and they shouldn't be able to find me here. Just when Bai Ye thought he was safe, a huge shadow suddenly appeared above his head under the moonlight. Bai Ye looked up slowly, only to see the huge golden eagle before, and the summoning beast was staring at Bai Ye with sharp eyes in the air. This kid has hid in the middle of the house, so hurry up and surround him. The ninja sitting on the back of the golden eagle yelled loudly, and the ninjas around him turned around and returned immediately after hearing it. And this huge physical attack summoning beast ninja instantly drilled into the ground. Advertisement. Just when Bai Ye was about to run away, suddenly the ground directly under his feet broke. Immediately afterwards, a pair of huge mouths broke through the ground in an instant, and several tentacles slowly explored outwards. It was discovered so quickly. Bai Ye immediately took off on the spot and stepped on the centipede's back the moment he was bitten. Following the upward force of the centipede, it flew directly to the roof of their house, flying over the eaves and walls. These ninjas around joined the battle one after another, and one after another summoning beast appeared in an instant. While running forward, Bai Ye turned his head and frowned at the summoning beasts around him. Some of these summoning beasts are like crabs, and some are huge scorpions. These huge summoning beasts are running fast. The whole village seemed to be lively at this moment. 343. Start a counterattack. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At this time, Bai Ye looked at the group of summoning beasts around him. Although they moved slowly, they could release some strange tricks from time to time to disturb Bai Ye. After a while, suddenly this huge scorpion shot out a green cocoon from the shoulder of its tail. The launched cocoons are nearly the size of a human body. It fell right in front of Bai Ye in an instant, and when Bai Ye felt strange, in the very center of this cocoon, it began to emit green smoke slowly to the surroundings. The smoke slowly began to spread to the surroundings, and Bai Ye accidentally inhaled a trace of smoke. In an instant, I felt something was wrong. Dizzy, my body started to shake, my hands started to shake, and my feet started to feel sore and limp. This feeling is so familiar, it is the feeling after being able to copy the bowl of porridge that one ate at the beginning. It turned out that the bowl of porridge had been mixed with it. No wonder this kind of thing happened due to the poison of the scorpion. Advertisement. The scorpion continuously launched these strange cocoons from its tail one after another. Running forward while jumping left and right. Bai Ye has already realized that he can't run like this anymore, there will only be more and more enemies around, and in the end they will die from exhaustion. We must find a quick solution to get rid of this group of summoning beasts before we can leave here safely. Bai Ye followed the path ahead and turned right. The group of ninjas sat on the summoning beasts and found that Bai Ye walked towards the trail and immediately led many summoning beasts forward. The moment they just turned a corner, Bai Ye suddenly appeared in front of their door. Lightning-style Chidori. Following a piercing scream, a blue lightning directly penetrated the body of this giant scorpion. The scorpion's head was instantly smashed by Chidori from the inside. Advertisement. After the scorpion is dealt with, one end of the path is directly blocked due to its narrowness. It was very difficult for the remaining summoning beasts to catch up. Just after Bai Ye thought he could successfully shake off them again, the golden eagle in the air appeared in front of him again. I forgot about this guy in the air because I was busy fighting, and I have not participated in the battle, just looking around in the air. It seems that the golden eagle in the air is responsible for monitoring the battlefield. Once the golden eagle is dead, then they will lose their eyes, and the three of them can also succeed, safely hiding from the sight of these guys. Asking for flowers. Multiple shadow clone technique. Just play with my shadow clone. In an instant, Bai Ye started to attack, and the plan Namikaze Minato said before was to run away as much as possible and not to fight. But now Bai Ye started to fight back directly, which shocked the two of them. Advertisement. Bai Ye's 1000 shadow clone appeared in an instant and turned the whole battlefield around. This group of summoning beasts didn't know which one to chase for a moment. Point 0. These shadow clones fled in all directions, and they couldn't tell the real ones from the fake ones. The big rock in the sky also seemed to be in a mess, not knowing which one was real and which one was fake, and panicked for a moment. Even the ninjas who control these summoning beasts are at a loss. Damn it, you actually used some tricks. Then get rid of all these shadow clones. These ninjas began to deal with Bai Ye's shadow clone, while Bai Ye was secretly planning. Only Bai Ye's body and some shadow clones were seen, quietly coming to the highest point on the top of the forest mountain. And this location is also the closest distance to Jinpeng Bird. 344. Simple-minded and well-developed limbs. Previous chapter. Advertisement. These shadow clones who fled in all directions panicked all the summoning beasts on the battlefield. These summoning beasts were busy attacking the shadow clone, Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi, and took advantage of the situation to hide directly on the edge of the house. The leader standing on the roof saw these summoning beasts and the ninja roared angrily in such a panic. What are you panicking about? Cheer up all of them, and catch them all. If there is one less person, you will give Kazanchi a head. After hearing their leader's threat, these people instantly became excited and began to search around. Some summoning beasts continued to attack these shadow clone looking for the real Bai Ye, and the empty golden eagle began to seriously search for Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi where they fled. I found it. They are here, come here quickly. Just after the golden eagle shouted, his voice suddenly began to tremble. Advertisement. It turned out that Bai Ye directly pushed him out from the top of the tree by using the power of shadow clone one by one. Taking advantage of the situation, it flew to the tail of the summoning beast, the golden eagle, and grabbed its feathers and climbed directly onto its back. Bai Ye, why are you here? The ninja looked at Bai Ye standing opposite him in surprise. Hey, I didn't expect that, Grandpa, I'm just so smart. It's not right to see you flying around on it. If I'm not wrong, you probably don't have very strong fighting ability. You and your summoning beast are at best scouts, as long as we get rid of you, we'll be fine. The corners of Bai Ye's mouth raised slightly evilly, and he walked towards the ninja. Look at mine. This ninja also seemed to enter a fighting state immediately. Advertisement. Don't underestimate me, although I'm a scout, but my ability. Bai Ye ran towards this ninja quickly. At this moment, dozens of shadow clone jumped out from behind Bai Ye. These shadow clone jumped in the air in an instant and directly punched the ninja in the face. And this ninja hadn't finished speaking, and was immediately under the pressure of these dozens of shadow clone. Oh. You guy, you don't talk about martial arts. After shadow clone finished beating, Bai Ye ran over, grabbed the ninja's head and hit him hard. In an instant, the ninja was stunned, and the ninja's summoning beast disappeared into the air. It seems that just like what Bai Ye thought, as long as there is a problem with the owner, the summoning beast will disappear along with it. Bai Ye descended slowly from the air and stood on the roof looking at the summoning beasts around. Advertisement. Hey, you guys are so capable of chasing me. Bai Ye started to twist his butt on the roof. The group of ninjas finally couldn't bear it any longer, immediately jumped up with the summoning beast, flew in the air and rushed towards Bai Ye. The surrounding summoning beasts include crabs, centipedes, some bears and lions, and various animals. And Bai Ye didn't seem to be in any panic, only seeing that they immediately attacked by 5.3 Ye, Bai Ye in his fast speed, blended with the night, and jumped out of the gap between their attacks. The leader who was watching the battle was not surprised. Just now Bai Ye was like a shooting star in the dark night, flashing across the battlefield and disappearing in an instant. Except for Namikaze Minato who has such quick speed. Damn, this kid still has something. 345. Giant Summoning Beast Combination. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After Bai Ye escaped from their encirclement, like a shooting star in the dark night, he instantly spun around this group of summoning beasts at high speed, slowly enveloping them in the center of Bai Ye. Damn brat, who are you scaring? I saw this ninja manipulating his summoning beast, a huge crab claw, to attack Bai Ye's high-speed moving encirclement in an instant. In an instant, a powerful impact directly broke the crab's claws. I saw this big lump of liquid wriggling in the air and directly attacking Bai Ye. The leader smiled smugly, and the tiger is in the center, roaring to the surroundings instantly as a head. From the very beginning, Bai Ye felt very strange after seeing these liquids, and now they seem to attach great importance to this liquid. Sure enough, they are a group of monsters with simple minds and well-developed limbs. Advertisement. And all the surrounding summoning beasts merged with this tiger one after another, gradually getting bigger and bigger. Bai Ye was very strange, looking at the space of 217 around him. He suddenly came here when he was fighting just now. I seem to understand that it should be an illusion. Namikaze Minato jumped over and immediately grabbed Bai Ye's shoulder. You want to know your own life experience and your memory, right? After saying this, I saw Bai Ye walking forward slowly with his head down, like a walking dead. The huge summoning beast instantly fell to the side, crushing half of the houses in the village. I saw this huge pile of water hitting Bai Ye instantly. After being hit outside, Bai Ye stood motionless and was completely limp. Bai Ye didn't seem to do anything by running like this, and couldn't surround such a big summoning beast at all. Advertisement. The leader jumped aside, seeing how clumsy this huge summoning beast was. Bai Ye spun around its soles at a high speed, forming an airflow that lifted his legs up slowly. Go to hell with me. Come here. In the center, a summoning beast headed by a tiger stood inside for an instant. Go. Seeing Bai Ye running at such a fast speed, and even running over, there is still such a strong airflow. Surprised by Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi, the huge summoning beast stood up and continued to attack in their direction. There are various powers in this fused summoning beast. Bai Ye smiled smugly. Advertisement. It's just a pile of water. What's so scary about it? So what if I take you head on? Suddenly a strange voice spoke to Bai Ye. I saw this huge soul, stepping directly in the direction of Bai Ye. The leader instantly manipulated the liquid to fly back and forth in the air. Look at the good things you have done, all these liquids have been spilled by you. In an instant, Bai Ye seemed to have entered a mysterious space, and the pupils of his eyes turned white. I saw that the leader began to form seals, and suddenly the liquid from the house slowly flew into the air, and 10 drops were combined around the leader's body. The interrupted crab disappeared immediately, and the group of ninjas inside started to panic with his summoning beast. Bai Ye's ridicule finally overwhelmed them. Brothers, it seems that there is only the last resort. 346. Soul Creation. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. But at this time, Bai Ye's body was like a walking dead, shaking in place, not listening to Namikaze Minato's words at all. Bai Ye, wake up quickly. In your heart, the tenacity and strength cannot be defeated by this kind of water drop. Bai Ye moved extremely fast, and the only person who could keep up was Namikaze Minato. Namikaze Minato looked at the leader with a frown, but at the same time, Bai Ye attacked again. It's a good idea of yours to interrupt my control over him by attacking me, but it's useless for you to do so. My consciousness has already entered his brain. This is not an ordinary control. Even if I die, he will beat you until you can't move. Namikaze Minato watched while fighting. Cough cough. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Don't dream, this is not a simple illusion, this is a soul creation technique. Advertisement. Seeing Namikaze Minato, he threw out a dagger and stabbed it firmly at the leader's side. In the center, a huge blue spinner attacked the leader like a ball. Seeing that Uchiha Itachi immediately used Sharingan to check Bai Ye's body. Ha ha ha, you all will become my servants today, and you will definitely be able to make me a more powerful summoning beast. The leader directly blocked the front with his arms, and an arm plus half of the shoulder was smashed by Rasengan in an instant. It doesn't make sense, I should go out at this time. Namikaze Minato injected chakra into Bai Ye's body. Want to wake up Bai Ye from outside disturbances through chakra. At the same time, this huge summoning beast directly attacked in the direction of Uchiha Itachi. Advertisement. But there was still no progress. Bai Ye didn't suffer from the illusion and Sharingan couldn't help much. Uchiha Itachi, hurry up and use the Sharingan to summon Bai Ye's body. At the same time, Bai Ye kept wandering in another dimension, surrounded by a piece of gold, but he couldn't find the end. Moving at high speed, it collides non-stop in the air instantly. The leader was knocked down suddenly, and blood flowed from his body afterwards. And this soul will follow my instructions. After a while, his soul will turn into a summoning beast. I think this kid is so powerful just now. I'm afraid the summoning beast should be very strong too. Bai Ye kills them. No matter how Namikaze Minato blocked Bai Ye, he still walked forward and seemed to obey the leader's words very much. The leader smiled smugly and looked around, Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi. Advertisement. In an instant, the battlefield was divided into two parts, and the leader standing in the center smiled triumphantly. But Bai Ye still walked forward swaying without any change. Now this kid has been completely controlled by me, and I have recreated a soul in his body. And he can't use any ninjutsu. After all, his opponent has now become Bai Ye and his nature has directly changed. Namikaze Minato's plan failed, he looked surprised, Zhao Nuo's, and kept dealing with Bai Ye donkey. This ninja called out by this ninja Namikaze Minato has never heard of it. I saw only Namikaze Minato, shaking his fist directly at the leader. Rasengan. After the leader said a word, Bai Ye instantly changed direction and directly attacked Namikaze Minato. 347. Another Bai Ye. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bai Ye wandered here for a long time, but couldn't find any way out. Suddenly, Bai Ye's body ached, and Bai Ye's chest felt hot and stinging, like thousands of ants biting him. This feeling was very uncomfortable. Bai Ye's body slowly softened and shrank into a ball, his whole body was sore and limp. What exactly is going on? At the same time, the battle outside was also very fierce. Namikaze Minato was slowly losing ground. While defending, Yoruichi's side was unable to mount a strong counterattack. Suddenly, a thunderbolt gathered in the center of Bai Ye's palm. A black shadow flashed across in an instant, and came directly in front of Namikaze Minato. Advertisement. At this time, Namikaze Minato was in the air, preparing to avoid any focus. One side of Bai Ye's body was in pain, and he suddenly saw some pictures, as if he 107 was constantly attacking Namikaze Minato. The lightning in the right hand is about to penetrate Namikaze Minato's body. Don't. Bai Ye's consciousness came back suddenly, but his body was not under his control. Namikaze Minato caught the moment of Bai Ye's pause, and immediately dodged aside. In just a moment, Namikaze Minato seemed to feel Bai Ye. It seemed that Bai Ye was not completely controlled. Nothing. In an instant, another person suddenly appeared in Bai Ye's mind, and this person's speech was very similar to Bai Ye's. I said don't attack him. Why don't you attack him, and what will happen if you attack him? Advertisement. Namikaze Minato is my friend, and if you attack him, he will die. Friend. What is a friend, can you tell me? What is death, can you tell me? To die is to never exist in this world. Will you tell me everything you know? I'm a quick learner. In an instant, all the information in Bai Ye's brain was running rapidly in his brain. At this moment, suddenly the black ball on Bai Ye's chest came into play again. This small black ball gradually grew bigger, and it looked like a black ball covering Bai Ye from the outside. Bai Ye, who had been fighting with Namikaze Minato non-stop, stopped and stood motionless. The body DBED is slowly surrounded by black balls, and it seems that it is no longer under the control of the leader. What the hell is going on here? Why is this guy not moving? And what is this black thing? Namikaze Minato also stopped vigilantly and stood aside. Advertisement. Bai Ye, fight for me, move for me, hateful thing. At the same time, in this golden space, Bai Ye is facing another Bai Ye who looks exactly like her. Who are you? I am you. In an instant, this soul directly entered Bai Ye's body to control the mouth and night body. Outside, Bai Ye's body began to move, and the surrounding black balls slowly disappeared. Bai Ye, follow my orders quickly and attack this guy. A black lightning flashed across in an instant, and the moment Namikaze Minato reacted, the lightning flashed across her side and flew directly towards the leader. Bai Ye directly grabbed the leader's neck, pinching his head tightly. Ha ha ha, it's really interesting, your soul survived in his body, but it doesn't work. Before the leader could finish speaking, Bai Ye crushed his head in an instant, causing blood to splatter all around. 348. One body two souls. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato was about to stop Bai Ye, but he didn't realize that Bai Ye's attack was too fast. For a moment, bloodline was everywhere, and Uchiha Itachi, who was watching from the sidelines, stood there dumbfounded. I only saw the summoning beast formed by this huge synthetic body, and after seeing its leader instantly killed by Bai Ye, he was so frightened that he ran away in a panic. The huge summoning beasts scattered one by one, and slowly all the summoning beasts disappeared into the jungle. It was late at night, and the full moon in the sky was like an eye, and the night was like a demon in the dark, carefully watching every move of this village. Everyone couldn't believe that this was Bai Ye. He used to be afraid of even a small insect, but now he can attack like a knife. Hello, Namikaze Minato Uchiha Itachi. Bai Ye, are you back? Bai Ye is now speaking in a strange way, very strange. After Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi looked at each other, they were sure that the person in front of them was definitely not Bai Ye. Advertisement. At this moment, Bai Ye woke up instantly and jumped off Namikaze Minato. Ah, that nasty guy. At this second moment when Bai Ye laughed out loud, his expression suddenly became serious, followed by the pupils of his eyes dilated, and his body slowly floated up into the sky as if being pushed up by something. Why don't you know me? I am Bai Ye. Immediately afterwards, the sky was covered with dark clouds, and the only remaining ray of moonlight in the sky was covered by the dark clouds. No, this is my body, and it's you who wants to go back. Namikaze Minato hurried over after seeing it, and slowly helped Uchiha Itachi up. I didn't cripple your eyes this time, but it doesn't mean I won't do it next time. In an instant, the voice resounded through the heavens and the earth, echoing throughout the village. Asking for flowers. Point 0. Bai Ye smiled sadly. Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Ye angrily. Advertisement. Fighting each other's bodies caused Bai Ye's body to be very painful, like heart-piercing. Wow. In an instant, Bai Ye fell to his knees on the ground, his body swaying from side to side could not keep his balance at all. Gu Fen Fen. Uchiha Itachi directly used Sharingan to probe Bai Ye's heart. Ha ha ha, look at your cowardly appearance, it scares you to death. Looking at Bai Ye's current state, Namikaze Minato may still not be the original Bai Ye. Namikaze Minato approached slowly, wanting to touch Bai Ye's body. Get out. Ha 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 ha. This level of Sharingan can't enter my body at all, I advise you to practice again, kid. After Namikaze Minato looked at Uchiha Itachi and nodded, Uchiha Itachi immediately opened Sharingan. Advertisement. Damn guy, you go back to me. Who are you? I saw Bai Ye with his head down, standing still in place. Bai Ye's sudden opening made them tremble in fright. It didn't look like Bai Ye's expression when he spoke. Just when Sharingan was about to enter Bai Ye's body, Uchiha Itachi bounced away like a backlash. When Bai Ye spoke, he had never looked like this before. Ah, it hurts to death. Then suddenly Bai Ye covered his head with both hands, in great pain. Bai Ye suddenly looked at Namikaze Minato strangely. Uchiha Itachi's eyes were bleeding slowly in an instant, and he lay down on the ground covering his eyes in great pain. For a moment, Bai Ye became quiet. Namikaze Minato, who didn't know what happened, tentatively walked in Bai Ye's direction. 349. Bai Ye's Summoning Beast. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The sky suddenly changed, the surrounding breeze slowly hit, and the rustling among the leaves in the forest. Wow. A few crows fly across the sky from time to time, as if announcing the coming of the end of the world. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi looked around vigilantly, and then looked at Bai Ye who was floating in midair. What the hell happened? Bai Ye, who closed his eyes and floated in the air, seemed to be 253, and seemed very mysterious. Immediately afterwards, dark clouds in the sky slowly formed, Uzumaki like a tornado. The center of Uzumaki slowly emits a trace of red light from the gray, and the red light becomes more and more obvious. Namikaze Minato, not knowing what happened, immediately took Uchiha Itachi to the edge of the wall to escape the strong wind. I saw that the dark clouds in the sky slowly turned red, and the surrounding wind became more and more arrogant, breaking the tree trunks and sucking them into the Uzumaki black clouds in the sky. Advertisement. I really didn't expect this kid's willpower to be so strong that he was not occupied by me, but drove me out instead. The sound echoed all around, as if the gods descended. This mysterious speech, the dark clouds in the sky that had just fallen from the voice descended again, and the strong wind all around became more and more intense. Bai Ye faintly opened his eyes and saw the dark clouds in the sky. Immediately afterwards, in the very center of the dark cloud, a horn-like thing slowly grew out. This thing is unusually huge, and it is slowly descending. This is. Namikaze Minato murmured to himself, and was about to say it when it was blocked in his throat. This powerful coercion made all of them feel very uncomfortable, and it became more and more difficult to breathe. Bai Ye slightly opened his eyes and saw the red dark clouds in the sky, and then saw the thing that looked like a rhinoceros horn. Advertisement. Immediately after this thing was about to reveal its true colors, the dark clouds in the sky suddenly disappeared. And the huge foot followed by a companion was also sucked into the dark cloud, and disappeared without a trace. The violent wind all around also stopped instantly, and the branches and trunks that had just been sucked up also fell down one after another. For a moment it was as if nothing happened. Come and go suddenly. Namikaze Minato immediately turned his attention to Bai Ye. I only saw this black ball floating on Bai Ye's chest, it seems to be pulling Bai Ye, but it seems to have other functions. After everything disappeared and stopped, Bai Ye slowly fell from the sky. Bai Ye Namikaze Minato, who was standing in place, still had some vigilance about the black ball on his chest, slowly melting into Bai Ye's body. Bai Ye, are you back? Advertisement. After a short rest, Bai Ye slowly opened his eyes, then raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and nodded slowly. Looking at the wounds on Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi, they were all caused by Bai Ye just now. At this time, Bai Ye felt very guilty. Don't worry about the injuries on our bodies. It was not caused by you. It was done by another you and has nothing to do with you. Bai Ye raised his head slowly, the moonlight shining in the sky was natural and calm. 5.6. Wouldn't that be my summoning beast just now? Namikaze Minato shook his head strangely, as if he didn't know why. Didn't you say that before the boss was defeated, after this soul creation technique creates a soul in my body, it will slowly become a summoning beast? Everyone looked up at the sky together. Then what is this summoning beast that has such a powerful aura? 350. Underground Chamber. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato slowly recalled the scene just now. At that time, with the dark clouds in the sky and the strong wind around, Namikaze Minato felt a little uneasy in his heart. It's just too much like. Namikaze Minato muttered to himself. What did you just say? Bai Ye asked slowly after hearing something. Namikaze Minato just pretended nothing happened. Nothing, it's just that we all seem to forget the all-important Uzumaki Kushina. Uchiha Itachi walked over slowly. I didn't see Uzumaki Kushina for Bai Ye's big movement just now. It seems that it should not be as simple as what we can see on the surface. Advertisement. Bai 31 Ye looked around carefully, and found that these houses were basically destroyed, and it should be impossible to be on the ground. It doesn't make sense, the location of Xiaobaiji was here, how could it be impossible to find it? It seems that Bai Ye should be walking around elsewhere, and suddenly lowered his head to look at the ground under his feet. Come here, I seem to have found something. Bai Ye slowly walked to the most central position where they were standing when they sneaked in at the beginning. After coming here, I carefully looked at the surrounding environment, and then touched the strange statue directly above the central pool. Uchiha Itachi, take another look to see if there is any problem down here. I didn't have time when I asked you to look at it just now. Uchiha Itachi came over again, opened the Sharingan, and looked at the pool carefully. Uchiha Itachi looked down slowly along the direction of the pool, and sure enough, he saw a very narrow hollow below the pool. Looking down carefully along the direction of this tunnel, it looks like a natural semicircular fox top. Advertisement. The structure of this arc top is very special, and if you look down, you can't observe anything. Indeed, there is a place like a passage below here, where Uzumaki Kushina should be hidden. Bai Ye nodded slowly, looks good on me. Bai Ye wanted to overturn the pool, but he kicked it so hard that he almost fell down. Then carefully ran around the pool, there should be similar traps here. I want to find the mechanism and sneak in successfully, but the pool is very hard, and there is no slight change. It's better for us to help together, this is really too hard, it should be enough to hit it bit by bit. Bai Ye smiled awkwardly, and then the three of them used ninjutsu at the same time. Lightning Style Chidori, Rasengan. Advertisement. Fire Shield Super Fire Dragon Flame Bullet. 3 people using the number at the same time blasted the pool to pieces in an instant, and dust flew up around it. A huge pothole appeared directly in front of their 873, along the center of the pothole, a pillar-like passage descended vertically. After waiting for the dust to fall, the 3 of them jumped down directly along this passage. After falling for a few seconds, it finally landed on a flat surface, which seemed to be the strange semi-arc that Uchiha Itachi mentioned. It looks like it's going to explode again. They used the ninjutsu just now again, and at the same time attacked towards the top of the arc in the center. In an instant, the sound of the explosion reverberated directly through the entire underground. But after the dust fell slowly, there was no change, and the strange arc still stood here motionless. Why is this thing so hard? It doesn't make sense. 351. Successful rescue. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Everyone fell into contemplation for a moment, not knowing what to do. This thing is so hard, and it is afraid that ordinary power cannot destroy it. Namikaze Minato thought carefully, it seemed that this situation was somewhat familiar. Bai Ye, do you also have a strange thing on your body, a kind of black ball? I remember you, he can help you defend against ninjutsu. Bai Ye immediately, Denuohao, looked at the strange graphic knots painted on the surrounding walls. Although it was in an airtight and very dark place, it was also very bright. I only saw Namikaze Minato's Rasengan. After attacking towards the hollow in the center, the cracks became bigger and the gaps became more obvious. And Bai Ye seemed to be slowly attracted by a strange aura around him. The dust slowly fell, and the surroundings seemed to be getting clearer and clearer. For some reason, there were inexplicable reflective spots on the wall underneath, densely packed. Advertisement. Bai Ye stood up slowly, the stones were still falling and the dust was flying all around. Plop. Looking down through this gap, it really is a huge space. Quote pipe quote. After everyone looked around slowly, Joyu saw Uzumaki Kushina tied up on a stone pillar in the center. Cough, cough, cough. I'm really choking. Immediately after the top of the arc they stepped on cracked in an instant, and a huge hole appeared directly under their feet. Immediately afterwards, the top of the arc slowly began to reveal cracks, and it seemed that due to the action of the black ball, some cracking sounds began to be heard slowly in the center of it. In an instant, a jet black light shone over. Bai Ye walked forward and watched the content carefully. Advertisement. Finally, some small stones on the ground began to fall towards the bottom of the arc, and slowly fell out of a small gap. Rasengan. The cracked ground of these stones was loose and slowly began to fall. Bai Ye saw the hole here, opened it slowly, and immediately put the black ball away. A huge black comma, and some strange horns painted on these people's heads. Quack quack, and Bai Ye fell heavily to the ground. Uzumaki Kushina seemed to be in a coma. After the rope was untied, it slowly fell downwards. Namikaze Minato caught it. Seeing this, Namikaze Minato jumped forward for an instant, and immediately unwrapped Uzumaki Kushina. After saying this, Bai Ye also remembered that his own black ball-like thing could help him successfully resist all ninjutsu. Advertisement. Bai Ye was frightened and jumped around in the sky, but Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Itachi seemed very calm and stepped on the falling cloth to the west and then landed steadily. 3 people fell vertically directly from above the void. Bai Ye looked extremely familiar after seeing these patterns. Then I'll try. Isn't this the murals around my secret room, but it's still a little different. Immediately afterwards, Bai Ye put his own chakra into the small black ball, and then something strange happened. These graphics are very familiar, and there is a very eye-catching pattern on it. Very similar to this thing, Bai Ye slowly took out this black ball. Oh, hello, it hurts me to death, this is too uncomfortable. After Bai Ye took it out from his chest, he slowly placed it on the top of the ark. 352. Otsutsuki. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I feel that they were also ordered by someone else to kidnap you. I'm afraid that the guy behind the scenes should be the one who came to arrest you, and this person knows the existence of Nine Tails. The four supported each other, and then drove slowly towards the village. Why did these people kidnap you? 563 Bai Ye looked at these words strangely, and then pondered carefully, but there was no progress. Bai Ye carefully observed the pattern on it. It seemed to be slightly different from what was recorded in his secret room, more like two completely different stories were recorded. Uzumaki Kushina narrowed his eyes, then shook his head slowly. However, it is still somewhat rewarding. The three characters Otsutsuki are still obvious. What is this Otsutsuki? Could it be that these people in black robes are Otsutsuki? Advertisement. Sorry to disturb everyone, hehe. Bai Ye shook his head slowly, and when Bai Ye was about to turn around and leave after reading it, he suddenly saw some strange writing on the edge. I'm coming. I don't know, but I have a feeling that the sealing technique I used for protection has suddenly activated. Everyone started to move towards the hole at the top to get out of here. Let's go back to the village and tell those old people about these things, and third Hokage may also understand something. Okay, I'll go there right away, you go back first. After Namikaze Water, DBAF, started to combine all the clues before and after, he began to analyze carefully. After Bai Ye walked out immediately, he quickly came to the Hokage residence. Advertisement. And according to what I understand, they probably didn't know the existence of Nine Tails in my body during the conversation just now. Everyone turned their heads and looked at Bai Ye together. It seemed very strange, and Bai Ye was very nervous because of embarrassment. Let's leave here first. It's not suitable to stay here for a long time, it's too dangerous. But like the situation at the beginning, there is still no way to fully interpret the above content. Otsutsuki. Bai Ye immediately walked out of the secret room, and went outside. With the murals I saw before, and then carefully study the murals here. After hearing this, everyone seemed to be getting more and more nervous. Bai Ye instantly felt very conflicted. The patterns recorded in his secret room and here are completely different contents. Advertisement. When they were thinking about this matter here, suddenly the roofs around them began to fall off slowly, and the stones on the roof fell in large pieces. While Bai Ye was analyzing here, a ninja suddenly came in and called Bai Ye. After returning to the village and placing Uzumaki Kushina in the hospital, Bai Ye also hurried back to his secret room. The stories above have their own descriptions. Some are telling that this group of people in white robes are doing some bad things, and some are telling them that they are doing some good things. After a hard struggle, he finally left here and returned to the ground. Bai Ye, fourth Hokage calls you over. It seems that something important is waiting for you. After Uzumaki Kushina woke up slowly, Namikaze Minato walked in front of everyone with Uzumaki Kushina. Bai Ye panted heavily, then immediately pushed open the door, and saw many people sitting in the room. Although most of the traces are already blurred, there are three writings in the center that are very clear. 353. Argue. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bai Ye, is this the boy you mentioned? It doesn't look like anything special. Bai Ye looked at the old man and said some very uncomfortable words with a calm face. This young man is Bai Ye. He is the most important person in this battle, and he is also the person who went with us to the border of the village. Everyone, Bai Ye, came here to learn more about what happened in this battle, as well as those strange things about you. It turned out that everyone called him over because they wanted to know about these things. For a moment, Bai Ye felt a little disappointed, and he didn't seem to want to say these things out. I think this kid doesn't know anything at all, otherwise he wouldn't be so hesitant. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato saw that Bai Ye seemed very nervous and frowned. Bai Ye, you don't have to be so nervous. If you don't want to say it, just tell me, no one is forcing you. After the old man stoked the fire here, Bai Ye became even more angry instantly. Just tell me what it is. Bai Ye stood up slowly, then stared at this old man. What happened this time? I'm afraid you people will never experience it in your lifetime. First of all, let me talk about the most important thing, which is the soul creation technique. I'm afraid you have never heard of this thing. The specific principle is to sprinkle a liquid on your body, and then slowly grow a new soul in your body. And this new soul is controlled by this person, which in turn controls your body. Wait when the time is right, and then this soul comes out of your body and slowly becomes a summoning ginger. Advertisement. After listening to these words of Bai Ye, these ninjas of the author felt unbelievable. After all, they had never seen them before. The sudden appearance of such a strange ninjutsu caught everyone off guard. Did you bring that strange liquid back? I heard from Namikaze Minato that you were also splashed by that liquid. What the old man said suddenly made Bai Ye feel abrupt. Bai Ye originally wanted to hide this matter, but he never thought that this guy would bring it up first. That's right, I was indeed splashed by this liquid, and a new soul was indeed born in my body, and I beat it out later. Asking for flowers. Then he turned into a summoning beast. Having said that, Namikaze Minato and Bai Ye seemed to hesitate a bit. Advertisement. After all, those dark clouds and strange horns in the sky at that time did not know whether they were his summoning beasts. Maybe. After Bai Ye said this, there was a commotion for a while, and these people faltered again. Then how do you make us trust you? If you ever summon a summoning beast like that, the whole village will be over. The people around also booed and shouted some damning. They seemed to feel very dangerous, and couldn't believe the Bai Ye in front of them. Bai Ye looked at these people with a look of disbelief, and his back hurts when he stands and talks. At that time, they fought desperately there, and the result was that this group of guys stared blankly. Namikaze Minato saw that Bai Ye was so embarrassed now, and immediately stood up to speak for Bai Ye. As the Hokage of this village, I should have the most say. What Bai Ye said is true. 354. Hidden smell of gunpowder. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After Namikaze Minato's words were spoken, the audience fell silent. Indeed, as the Hokage of Konoha village, speaking still has a certain status. Mitokado Homura seemed dissatisfied with what Namikaze Minato said, as if he was trying to excuse Bai Ye. Bai Ye looked at these so-called high-ranking Konohas and the surrounding Fire Kingdom daimyos with a look of hatred. These people never understand how dangerous the ninjas fighting on the front line are, and how rough things they experienced in April 20th. And these people are always pointing at the back, not doing anything. And Namikaze Minato's words completely changed Bai Ye's current state, and Bai Ye finally saw someone willing to stand up for him. Namikaze Minato turned his head to look at Bai Ye, with a slight smile on his lips. Advertisement. At this moment, Bai Ye's heart finally calmed down. This time the world is basically finished, and if any problems occur in the future, I, Namikaze Minato, will be responsible. As for Bai Ye, I believe he will not have those strange things happen, nor will he do that kind of dangerous thing to the village. Namikaze Minato thoroughly chatted about this topic, and the surrounding Konoha upper-level personnel evacuated the room angrily, and then these daimyos also walked out one after another. Only third Hokage, Uchiha Itachi Kakashi, and Shisui stood here. Namikaze Minato turned around slowly and looked at Bai Ye. Bai Ye has no outsiders now, I believe you found more than that there and tell us all about it. Bai Ye frowned and looked at these people in front of him, as if these people in front of him were all people he could trust. Advertisement. Okay, then I will tell you all the detailed process of this matter. After Bai Ye carefully explained the cause and effect of this incident, he explained all the details he found in this operation, and then reiterated it. At that time we were in that underground space, on the surrounding walls, I saw those pictures, and vaguely found the three characters Otsutsuki. Otsutsuki. Feels a little familiar. Third Hokage muttered to himself, while Namikaze Minato, Kakashi Shisui, and Uchiha Itachi looked at each other and seemed to know the word Otsutsuki. Isn't Otsutsuki the person recorded in the textbook we read when we were young? I remember that the ancestor of Chakra recorded in the picture book is the Otsutsuki family. Everyone is talking and discussing around, it seems that only Bai Ye doesn't know the real meaning of Otsutsuki. Advertisement. Huh, you all know about it, I'm the only one who doesn't know about it, and I still keep it as a secret. Namikaze Minato smiled, and then came to Bai Ye. This is a storybook that everyone in our village has read since childhood. It contains various legends, so it is a family fable. After hearing this, Bai Ye realized that what he studied seriously was just some legends and myths they talked about. At 2.2, third Hokage slowly stood up and walked in front of Bai Ye. Can you tell me what that black ball is? This question by third Hokage was right on point, and there was a lot of contention in the room for a moment, and Bai Ye suddenly became a little nervous. Bai Ye didn't know how to answer this question to be the real answer. 355. Query the truth. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. But these things are not what Bai Ye is looking for. Leave it to me, you continue to look for like-minded people with us. Third Hokage. Look at Bai Ye, he obviously just has something on his mind, and it's not convenient to reveal it. After a while, Jinchuriki will be at his weakest. It will be the night of the full moon, and there is still a child in him, so there is no way to maintain the normal sealing technique. If he told them this secret, he, Xiaobai and the whole secret room would be in great danger. After thinking of this, Bai Ye stood up again, impatiently flipping through the room and all the books in the secret room. After going through their sealing method from beginning to end, they found that no summoning beast appeared. Bai Ye began to flip through them one by one. Advertisement. No, it should be able to summon a summoning beast. Why is there nothing? Why were they able to summon it at that time? Now that the matter has been clarified, let's go back and think about it, and think about who was the black hand behind this scene who was manipulating all this. Then where did you find this black ball? Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Ye, and then at everyone present. Obito said silently from the side. And this strange and powerful black ball, what kind of substance is it? That's why I carry it with me. This is just something I got by chance. I didn't know its function at first, until I accidentally discovered his power in the later battles. Bai Ye also had a disappointed and confused expression on his face, wandering around the streets of Konoha village after walking out the door. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato immediately came forward to help adjust after seeing it. The other one, the soul in his body turned into a summoning beast. What was that big guy that was about to come out in the sky at that time? Bai Ye hesitated and seemed afraid to answer the question. After returning to the house, Bai Ye lay on the bed, recalling the scene of the battle from time to time. Look at me, summoning. Bai Ye couldn't figure it out, he didn't know what went wrong in the middle. Obito walked out of the cave slowly, changed his clothes, and was ready to move. And these ninjutsu seem to have some side effects, and have powerful damage to the 503 people who use this ninjutsu. Bai Ye began to experiment step by step according to the not seal method of the ninjutsu they used. Advertisement. Then third Hokage asked another question. Judging from the paintings on the book and the text descriptions above, this book all records some strange ninjutsu. Third Hokage's questioning made Bai Ye a little uneasy, as if 31 didn't want to tell third Hokage about it. After White Zetsu was injured by the sealing technique, he immediately fled back to the cave organized by Akatsuki. Bai Ye began to read slowly from a book at the far edge of the cabinet, and the first book he opened was the word forbidden technique. After third Hokage nodded slowly, he walked back to his seat. I'm going to get it soon, but I didn't expect this guy's body to have a sealing technique. I didn't open the 9 tails in his body. Since he refuses to say anything, don't ask any more questions. Bai Ye, who was standing aside, began to think carefully about the scene when those people used the soul creation technique that day. 356. Rasengan. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The lost Bai Ye was lying on the bed, feeling very weak. On the other side, Uchiha Itachi's younger brother is about to be born, and Namikaze Minato's child is about to be born. The whole village is celebrating, as if waiting for this day to come. At this time, Namikaze Minato was coming to Bai Ye's house. After Bai Ye heard the voice, he walked out immediately, and when he saw Namikaze Minato, he quickly pulled the chair beside him. How did you come here? Namikaze Minato looked at Bai Ye with a smile on his face. It seems that they have made a lot of mistakes. I feel a little lost in my heart. Let me come and see you. Bai Ye still seemed to be in the same mood, not very happy. Advertisement. Come on, I'll teach you a ninjutsu, which I created myself. If you can learn it, you shouldn't be so troubled. When Bai Ye heard that there was such an interesting ninjutsu, he immediately stood up and followed Namikaze Minato out. You have seen this ninjutsu before, but if you want to practice it, you can't just see it at a glance. I saw Namikaze Minato stretching out his right hand, with his palm facing the sky, and his fingers wrapped around him. Slowly a uzumaki formed in the center of Namikaze Minato's palm, and then a ball-like thing slowly enlarged. Inside the sphere, something seemed to be scurrying around. Rasengan. After a moment a huge ball appeared. Namikaze Minato threw it directly, and it hit hard in the woods outside. I saw only this tree as the center, the surroundings were in chaos, and a huge pothole was punched out in the ground in an instant. After seeing this injury, Bai Ye was terrified. Advertisement. This is even more powerful than the Chidori he learned before. Chidori is penetrating damage, but this Rasengan is a huge explosion inside. Amazing ninjutsu. Namikaze Minato smiled and walked in front of Bai Ye. This ninjutsu is to gather chakra in the palm of the hand, and then work hard to form it into a swirl, and then slowly transform it into a sphere, and burst out in an instant. After Bai Ye listened to Namikaze Minato's general explanation, he began to prepare for the first attempt. I saw that Bai Ye also followed Namikaze Minato's explanation, stretched out his right hand and tried hard to gather chakra in the palm of his hand. Immediately afterwards, this chakra seemed to be out of Bai Ye's control, flowing out from the palm of his hand and drifting around like the wind. Bai Ye wanted to take back these chakra, but instead felt that his chakra was passing away quickly. Then more and more chakra was lost, and the uzumaki form became more and more unstable. Advertisement. Finally, Bai Ye couldn't control himself anymore, and in an instant, he was directly thrown to the ground by chakra. After Namikaze Minato saw it, it seemed to be exactly what he expected. You should try this first. I saw Namikaze Minato take out a round balloon filled with water. Namikaze Minato directly and easily, Qian Zhao's, exploded the balloon evenly. The water splashes around and splashes in all directions. After Bai Ye took over the water polo, he also began to train in the same way. I saw that after Bai Ye injected chakra into the balloon seemed to start to push outwards unstable. Due to the different distribution of chakra, Bai Ye's balloon was only seen to collapse outward at an angle. It seems that this is not as simple as Bai Ye thought. 357. Rasengan is so difficult. Previous chapter. Advertisement. Namikaze Minato then took out many balloons, filled them with water and put them aside, letting Bai Ye try slowly. Namikaze Minato watched Bai Ye train so seriously, so he left here quietly. And Bai Ye seemed to be competing with this balloon, and began to deal with these balloons seriously. Damn it, why is this thing so disobedient? If you change it to a stronger ball, maybe it will be fine. Bai Ye ran back to the house and randomly found a harder ball. The ball was much bigger than a water balloon. After placing it on the palm of his hand, Bai Ye began to inject chakra into the ball slowly. I saw that the ball began to move slowly, and then began to spin and circle inside. The speed of the ball is getting faster and faster 077, and the speed of rotation is also getting faster and faster. Bai Ye frowned seriously, staring carefully at the ball in his hand. Just when Bai Ye thought he was about to succeed, who knew that the ball suddenly slipped out of his hands and flew out of his hands. Advertisement. After the ball flew out of the sky, it smashed towards the stream outside the forest. Bai Ye immediately ran in the direction of the ball, quickly. Ouch! Who is it? Before the ball was found, there was a screaming sound from near the creek. At this time, Bai Ye felt a little bit of uneasiness in his heart, slowed down, and slowly pushed aside the leaves of the forest to look out. I saw a girl covering her head at the edge of the creek, and a few ninjas standing around, seeming to be observing something carefully. Bai Ye then looked for his ball and found that it was next to the girl. Now Bai Ye probably understands that the ball must have hit someone on the head just now, no wonder there was a scream. I'm afraid these people are looking for me. Bai Ye looked at the group of people in fear, and then walked out of the forest in fear, pretending that nothing happened. Advertisement. While whistling, Bai Ye slowly walked past, looking at the girl and the ball next to her from the corner of her eye. And this girl stared at Bai Ye and felt very suspicious no matter how she looked at it. These ninjas also stared at Bai Ye. DBEH. Hey, stop for me. Suddenly the girl started yelling and seemed very angry, so scared that Bai Ye immediately stood there. The surrounding ninjas also hurriedly gathered around. Did you just hit me on the head with this ball? Bai Ye was too scared to turn around. No, I'm just passing by here. The girl looked at Bai Ye suspiciously, then raised her feet and walked forward. Then why don't you dare to turn around? The girl was getting closer and closer to Bai Ye. Bai Ye closed his eyes tightly, gritted his teeth and turned his head for a moment. Advertisement. After the two looked at each other, both seemed surprised. It's you. The two shouted in unison. You're the woman who threw me off the roof last time riding a big bird. The girl seemed to have changed her attitude after seeing Bai Ye. I'm really sorry last time. I really didn't mean it. That bird was too difficult to control. It turned out to be you. What are you doing here? Bai Ye swallowed and looked around. Then what are you doing here? It's so remote here, you're almost out of the village. Of course I am here to practice, and I will take the genin exam after a while, and I must seize the opportunity to start training.